Hello guys, how are you? We're on the air. Yes,
Hello.
yes. Oh,
Ayun, sir.
Hello.
Okay naman.
Hi, sir.
Hello po.
thank you for being with us sa episode 5 ng Memes and Podcast. So you can call me RJ, Sir RJ. Yeah, we're gonna start with the first part of the podcast. No, you're going to introduce your group for about 3 minutes or so. If you have PowerPoint slides, you can share it anytime. But we're going to start with you, Apga. So Miss Royale, you can take over.
Mag-share screen lang po ako. So, good evening everyone. I am Real Miga, the National President of United Architects of the Philippines Graduate Auxiliary. So, we are UAPGA. So, we have the theme for this year is Finding New Limits, which is NEO. So, we have the vision and the mission. And we are composed of 44 National Board of Directors. And our vice chair is Architect Denefe Edosada from UAP. And our chairperson is Architect John Philip Cortez, UAP. We have 44 National Board of Directors composed of Vice President, MANCOM, externals, internals, district directors, and from A, B, C, and D. So, eto po, currently we have 53 chapters. So, this is last year. So, we gathered 300,954 members for this fiscal year. So, and we are divided in ABCD. So, you up guys divided in ABCD. So, continuous career development program, architecture licensure examination assistant, community assistant. So, the architecture licensure examination assistants. So, ito po si Laro is the most famous from UAPGA kasi ito po yung ni UAPGA na which is dito yung learning architecture outside the box. So, ito yung event namin kung saan nag-review kami ng mga magte-take ng ALE for June and January. So, dito may site visit po and may mga mock board exam din sila. So, ayun po. Then, we have community assistance. So, workload. So, meron kaming tinutulungan na isang community or which is yung parang tawag dito, children's house. So, which is the Mango House. Pero ngayong year is tumulong kami dun sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo. So, this is last year. So, we have events. So, we have induction ceremony. Logbook filing. Logbook filing is, dito po tinuturo is paano tayo mag-logbook filing. Dito yan sa event ni UAPGA na from logbook filing seminar. So, yan siya. Hinati din namin siya from area A to area D. So, kung ang area A po is northern, then area B is southern, tapos Cebu and Davao yung C and D. So, yan lang po, logbook filing. Then this is the laro. So, buklod and National Congress. We also have National Congress. So, ang event kasi ni UAPGA is in line with the UAP. So, kung mapapansin nyo po is yung most of the events namin is katulad po sa UAP. So, we have Excellence Awards and these are the social media accounts of UAPGA. So, yan lang po, hindi ko na patagalin. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Miss Royal, Ma'am Royal from UAPGA. Your marquee event is Laro, no? In fact,
Yes po.
in fact, alumni ako ng Laro 4. So, it's your most famous event. So, thank you very much. Next up po si Sir Leo from PIASA. So, I guess while you're fixing it, punta muna tayo kay Christian ng Junior PIA.
Ayun. Good evening to everyone. I am Christian M. Isidro, the current National President of the Junior Philippine Institute of Architects. Small history lang, syempre. Junior PIA serves under the Philippine Institute of Architects under the Manila section, PIA Manila section. Our current advisor is Architect Michael Rojas. Our latest event is the latest module about on how architecture student and how architects adjust. Yun alam naman natin yung nangyari. Kaya medyo yung organization is nag-a-adjust sa situation. More Bali, patapos na rin kasi yung term ko. Yan. Patapos na rin. So, mag-votings na ulit for the next national president. Ayun lang po. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Christian. I guess technically Junior PIA is the oldest, isn't it? Or ASAFIL?
Yung PIA po ay sa
student with regards to
organization po.
with regards to student org. But yeah, I'll check na lang siguro. Sir Migs, hello. It's your turn.
Hello, hello. Okay. Share screen lang din ako. Okay, good evening, Sir RJ and Architecture Forum Chairperson for this academic year. So, quick history lang. So, currently in its 39th year, so UPAF is the longest standing organization in the UP College of Architecture. So, we were formally recognized August 18, 1981, a few months after the martial law era. So, if I'm not mistaken, January 1981 nag-end. So ayan, short period of time before it was formed. In essence, RT Forum is an opposition from that time since student formations were forbidden to gather. So our founders thought of a way wherein architecture students could uh, say their inputs on the current on the current events. So where they shared intellectual discourse, discussions. So hence na con yung term na architecture forum. So ayan yung mga few of our alumni. So advocacy. So we can actually shorten siya sa isang quote, Filipino architecture for the Filipino people. So in our organization, we try to instill in our members the importance of relevant architecture for the Filipinos. We provide the means wherein collective studies and intellectual discussions can be made into issues confronting the studentry or the nation. So, ayun nga yung architecture forum. We try to instill also the relevance of our profession as architects and how we can serve the Filipino people. So, few of our events lang. Our three main events are the ArQuiz, Deconstruct, and Bigay Kaya. So, ArQuiz is the annual nationwide architectural quiz bee, usually held around March. And then Deconstruct is our SEM starter party naman. It is where we promote the camaraderie of architecture schools. And Bigay Kaya is our annual charity event. So, ayun lang. So, AF.
Okay. Your marquee event will always be ArcWiz, no? It for at least for the non-members. Like
Yes, sir.
yeah. In fact, I believe mas alam ng tao yung ArcWiz kaysa yung name ng group to some extent. But
Actually,
yeah,
yeah.
of course, yeah. But yeah, thank you very much, Sir Miguel. And let's go to your neighbor, Asafil, Miss Feby.
Hello, I will just share screen. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. I am Phoebe Ong, the current National Chairperson of the Architectural Students Association of the Philippines Incorporated. Okay, so this is a brief description now of what ASAFIL is. So, we are a student-run national organization centered towards the goal of uplifting architectural education. So we advocate for everyone in the design community to contribute to social change and development, as we should, given the profession that we are currently working on to take. So with this, this is our chapters. We currently have 4 chapters. So we have one in Bulacan State University. So that's ASFIL Bulsu. We have one in the Technological Institute of the Philippines, Manila, the Technological University of the Philippines, Manila, and lastly, the University of the Philippines, Diliman, where I am a part. And so consequently, representatives from all 4 chapters would form the National Board of Directors. So the National Board of Directors is the representation of ASAFIL Incorporated as a whole. And we're a governing body that oversees and regulates the cooperative efforts of all 4 chapters. So as I was saying, yes, so I just introduced the NBOD. So I'm part of the NBOD po. And we're currently around 8 officers. And yun, currently we're overseeing all 4 chapters.
Mhm.
And with that, we introduce our 3 main thrusts. So this is our highlight for all of our events in ASAFIL. So with all of the events that ASAFIL plans collectively, this is what we always take into account. So we always make sure we stay true to advocating to uplift architectural education, social relevance, and environmental awareness. Yes. And to name a few of our events, so we have ARC 360. So ARC 360 is short for Architecture in 360. This is an annual design symposium that we organize for both our members and for non-architectural people alike. So what we do here is we come up with various facets and themes each year. Tapos whatever is focused on that theme for the field, we provide like a series of discourses, and so we invite professional speakers and architects also that could contribute their knowledge to the certain theme, yes, of our event. Yes, and so with that, that's all. That's ASAFIL for you.
Yes, thank you, Miss Feby. In fact, ARC 360 is your most is your marquee event, right? Just
Yes,
like
sir.
yes, just like Archiforum's ARCWIZ and UAPGAS Laro. So thank you for highlighting it out. Let's go now to Doric Ateneo de Davao University. Sir Fitzgerald.
So, hi everyone. So, let me introduce myself first. I am Fitzgerald Iayas. You can call me Fitz, and I am currently the president of DORIC, the Ateneo Architecture Guild. It is the official student body of architecture community in Ateneo de Davao University. Our guild moderator is architect Lalinka Regalado. So, as we all know, DORIC, it is one of the ancient classical order of the Greeks. It is simple, efficient, and yet iconic. As a guild that serves towards the community and beyond, its pillars, the officers, committees, and members have always been passionate in transforming architecture students holistically, providing services and upholding several programs for the well-being of students. It is a club that unites differences, connects interests, and form bonds. So in a field where different ideas contrast and diverge, it's not just a guild, it's DORIC. So for this year, since we have the pandemic and we are experiencing a lot of challenges with our learning experience, we shifted into a lot of platforms that we would be able to serve still the community here in our university. So our events that I can highlight for this year is to name a few, the RFIOP. It is the Architecture First Year Orientation Program. Also, we have the Archisambol. It is the Doric General Assembly. And we have also the DRAW. It is a Digital Architecture Week. So, yun lang po, sir. I will elaborate more of our programs later on the parts and stages of our podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Ayas. We go now to UST, Heritage Conservation Society Youth UST, Miss Angelica. Hello.
Hello po, good evening. So I'm not going to share any slides din po. So to introduce myself, I'm Angelica Villamor, or you may just call me Jeka. I'm the president of Heritage Conservation Society UST Youth Chapter, or for short, HES USTY. So yung organization namin, we value and preserve the Filipino cultural heritage in order to strengthen the Filipino identity. And we are not just advocates, we also do voluntary work, project implementation, education, and information. So through that, we still awareness, like we every single year we have a general assembly that welcomes the students to our advocacy. We also provide learning resources such as seminars by architects and heritage advocates. We have partnered with Escuela Talyer last year, and we also did Likha, which was a mural painting activity for our Archi Week. And then we also do tours, workshops, and community development. We had tours in Intramuros, Quiapo, and I believe the previous HES board has also done some further tours. And we also had a successful exhibit 2 years ago, which was A.R. Francisco Manyosa's exhibit which showcased his life works and his love for the Filipino architecture. And for now, we are Locsin's works as well. Kaso ang daming setbacks like the pandemic and yung mga preparations. And yung mga naka-line up naman namin this year, we also set some webinars, and one of them we chose to partner with San Sebastian. And if you're aware with what has happened lately, um, tawag dito, ang daming issues nangyayari doon. So we pledged to do some, to have them with their petition. And before, the team of HES was bringing the history to the future. Kaso with the pandemic happening, we shifted the team into pamana into the virtual world, which shows that the advocacy never stops despite the setup. So yun lang, sir, and thank you.
Thank you, Miss Angelica. So far, your group is the only group in this podcast na nakalagay sa pangalan ng group ang advocacy. So immediately, malalaman ng students ang inyong advocacy. So thank you. Let's go back to you, Sir Leo. So Sir Leo of PIASA, I think not everyone knew what PIASA is. It's the best opportunity for you to introduce the group.
Yes. Okay, sige. So, good evening, everyone. I am Leonardo Tulang, Jr., and I am currently the president of the PIASA, Philippine Institute of Architects, Students, and Associates from University of Mindanao, Davao City. So, our motto is, we transcend as one. So, brief history about PIASA. PIA, or the Philippine Institute of Architects, is the oldest architectural society in Asia. It was formed on January 19, 1933, which is 87 years ago na. So it is composed of men and women from the architectural profession of the Philippines. The PIASA served section of being member of Union International Architects in the International Organization Architects from 1950 till 1991, until its membership was then passed on the United Architects of the Philippines, which is now the UAP. So the PIASA has a motto which is, come now, let's all be united for the progress of our native land. As brother architects, we must not forget to enhance the progress of our land. So quick timeline, Juan F. Nakpil is the founder of the PIA, National Architects Award, 1973, and he is the Dean of Philippine Architects. Tomas Mapua, 1935, and Carmelo Casas, current president of PIASA, 2019 to 2020, then 2020 and 2021, since walang naganap na election due to pandemic. So, about PIASA, the Philippine Institute Architects, Students, and Associates, formerly known as GPEA, or the Junior Philippine Institute of Architects. It is under the guidance of the oldest and one of the most respected architectural society in Asia, which is the Philippine Institute of Architects. So, PIASA Chapter was founded school year 2009 to 2010, which is led by Russell Katapang, his architect, and supervised by former professor architect Alvin Morales. So, proceed. So, to our events, we have Mindanao Design Construction Fair, which is held in 2019 at SMCT Davao. Like that. And we also conduct in also conduct League of Ninjas, which is last year we with the college department. And we also conduct tutorials, which is PIASA AutoCAD, mixed media rendering tutorial. Some of this is our works and manual rendering tutorial and more. That would be also. Yun lang po, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sir Leo. We're going to go muna sa stage 2, no? Even if wala pa uh, si Yoapsa. Maybe pag dumating siya later, we can give her the first phase of the podcast. Let's proceed sa stage 2. Well, I made this podcast because I want to learn from you guys, and yung mga experiences nyo sa org, iba-iba yan for sure. Because bukod sa iba-iba yung geography, iba-iba yung inyong schools, iba-iba rin siguro yung specialization ng bawat organization. And it's quite apparent when we are introducing ourselves. And for the second stage, I have a few structured questionnaires where everyone will take turns to answer the same question. Everyone can share their experiences based on yourself or based on your organization's experience. So, are you guys ready? Okay. So the first question is, well, by the way, naging UAPSA advisor ako, no? And the first question that I encountered while recruiting for members is this question of why do I have to join your group? In your case, when somebody you're recruiting, when somebody asks you that question, why do I have to join your organization? What is your usual answer to this question? We can start with Miss Royal ng UAPGA, no?
So hello po again. So why do I have to join your organization? So usually struggle yan sa amin kasi UAPGA is a graduate organization. So mostly yung members namin is nag-work na or fresh graduate. So parang after nila ng UAPSA or ng mga other student org is parang nagpapahinga na sila pagkaalis nila ng school. So kami, nahirapan din kaming sa kanila na like, oy, sali kayo kasi UAPGA is like this, UAPGA can help you with your review, ganyan. So hindi naman kasi lahat na naniniwala na parang, hindi, kasi tapos na ako dyan, ganyan. So parang they compare the student experience of organization to the graduate organization. So yun yung struggle namin. Pero so far ngayon naman po, glad kami na yung mga graduates ngayon is malaki yung tiwala sa UAPGA kasi yun po, based din naman sa mga events naman na din na represent namin is talagang natutulungan namin sila. We have to be the voice for everyone kasi. So parang pagdating dito sa part ng nag-work na sila is kailangan namin silang tulungan to achieve their dreams to be an licensed architect. So yun kasi yung main goal ni UAPGA. So pero hindi lang naman yun. I mean, kasi pag labas mo ng school, hindi ka naman agad mag-exam kasi we have 2 years experience eh. So ayun, ang ginagawa namin is we provide yung preparation for your 2 years is yun, yung mga webinars or yung mga seminars nung wala pang pandemic is yun, like yung logbook filing, how to file your logbook, ganyan siya. So yun yung mga naibibigay ni UAPGA, which is yan, may struggle pa din pero thankful kami na may nagtitiwala sa UAPGA na yun, sasali pa din sila ng sasali kahit mahirap. Lalo na ngayon kasi since pandemic. So yun po. Thank you, sir.
Yes, I get your challenge, because hindi mandatory or they always have the option to not to join you up. Yeah. But yeah, it's good to know that you've been able to pull it off despite the pandemic and the challenge. Uh, Hello, UAPSA. Hello. Finally. You can you can introduce UAPSA. Then we can proceed sa second stage ng podcast.
Ayan. So, I'll start na po. So, hi, I'm Max Vera, and I'm from the United Architects of the Philippines Student Auxiliary, and we're a national organization with over 100 member schools, with over 22,000 members throughout the country for this fiscal year. And more than just being the junior arm of the UAP or the United Architects of the Philippines, we're trying to uphold the welfare of architecture students nationwide in gearing towards professionalism, camaraderie, selfless service, and also global competence. So for this fiscal year, we're trying to connect with other organizations abroad that are also architecture students. So this year we're launching the International Group of Architecture Students. So we're not limited to a local level or a district or an area level or a nationwide level, but we're trying to be far reaching as possible. So yeah, I guess that's one of our ganaps in UAPSA. We also are running a podcast also like this. It's called UAPSA Litaan, and we talk about socially relevant issues and about the built environment and heritage as well, like HCS. But we're more focused on membership as of the moment, since it's the first time that UAPSA went online and we have no events at all, like physical events. And that's what we're usually known for, that we have district assemblies and area assemblies and the National Congress and the quadripartite usually every year. But this year, we're all migrating them online. So I guess that's all for UAPSA for now.
Thank you, Miss Max. And yeah, by mandate nga kayo yung student org by mandate. The biggest student org sa Philippines for our community. You can proceed with the second question, UAPSA. No? Kasi naging UAPSA advisor ako ng Central Colleges of the Philippines 3 years ago. The original UAPSA chapter. And one of the struggles recruiting members is they don't know why they have to join UAPSA. So what's your take on when somebody is asking, why do I need to join your organization?
I believe that the reason one joins an organization, it's really subjective, and those who limit themselves to getting the membership card are really missing out. Like how much you want to get out from an org depends on how much you're engaging yourself with the other members or how you're immersing in the culture. So definitely it's the culture for me. So that's why I joined UAPSA. It's because I wanted to go out of my comfort zone actually and have a great network, since the saying goes, your network is your net worth. So I take pride of having friends from other architecture schools and organizations as well in the country and overseas. So yeah, this is why I think that the culture is what you would want to explore in UAPSA, because it's different per chapter and per area. So it really is a diverse organization.
Yeah, it's good that you pointed out that it's not about the cards with discounts in stores, right? It really is the culture that makes you join an organization. How about PIASA? What's your take on this question? Why do I have to join your organization?
Ano sir, connections, friends, and ano sir, involvement sa organization is a great benefit in a way na you get to know other people, you get to know your seniors, and you get to share knowledge, especially sa mga lower year na curious kung ano yung PIASA, bakit sila kailangan I mean, bakit kailangan nila mag-join sa org namin. Yun, sir. Sir? Yun nga, connections. And also friends. And aside from that, sa academics, mga inuman session, like that, sir.
Everyone's smiling. I love it. Before I react to PIASA, I would like to know Junior PIA's take on this. Christian, why do I have to join Junior PIA?
Ayun. Actually po kasi is naabutan siya ng pandemic. So, yung events namin is lahat yun na basura. Kasi lahat naman tayo, we didn't expect that pandemic would come. And i-share ko na lang yung case ko when I am the president of the Junior PIA, Technological Institute of the Philippines. Current kasi sa TIPQC is we have 3 organizations, the Junior PIA, the UAPSA, and the NQ. So every time na we have the membership drive, yan din yung lagi nila nasabi na why do we join your organization? Sa amin kasi mahirap siya in a way na we have like a competition with the other organization, but it doesn't mean na yung competition na yun is we take it as bad. We take it as positive kasi dun namin napapakita as like the officers na hanggang saan ba yung kaya namin magawa to serve them. And and our way was to explain them that as your officers, as your junior officers, and more likely most of us is higher year. The lower year, syempre medyo nandun pa yung mindset of being curious regarding the architecture. And us, we always explain them that if you have any questions, if you have like wanted help through your year, especially as a lower year, andito kami as a guide. Kasi we already napagdaanan namin yun eh. Napagdaanan na namin yung side ng pagiging lower year. And alam namin na mahirap siya. And as a higher year, we can provide everything ng mga na maiwasan nyo yung maranasan namin ng mga mali. And that's how we respond to them. And syempre, sabi nga rin po kanina, subjective din po kasi yung pagpili. And it's their choice. So, for us, as much as possible, na-serve namin sila. Masaya na kami as officers. And that's what we always tell them about. So, ayun po.
Yeah, and I think PIASA and Junior PIA had this unique position wherein they are backed up by the PIA, no? The like Villarosa, Recio, Casas. So, yeah, it's just kind of unique to your group. Let's go now to Heritage Conservation Society USTU. Yes. Medyo madami kayong org sa UST. Feeling ko ramdam niyo yung challenge na yun. You can share your experience about it.
So, yung sa pag-join po ng organization. So, when we're always asked that, kasi parang, konting share ko lang, kasi kapag may, yung HES kasi, dati, hindi siya super, like, masyadong pinapansin kasi merong ARCANET tsaka UAPSA. So parang sila yung unang nakikita ng mga students. Pero I mean, it's not really a bad thing. I think it's just because na yung mga, lalo na yung mga first year students, hindi sila super in touch with heritage masyado. Lalo na yung iba, hindi pa sila ganun ka-in-depth when it comes to architecture. And yung, for me, yung nakikita ko yung purpose ng heritage conservation kasi it's only offered as a specialized subject sa amin. So, hindi lahat ng students makaka-take nun. And I guess, yung role ng organization namin is to actually cater to more students na para matutunan yon. And if nakikita ko rin yung impact ng HES kasi I saw some seniors na yung naging thesis nila is related to heritage conservation, and most of them, they became a member of HES. And I guess yun yung naging role ng HES sa buhay nila, na nakatulong yung organization to make them realize kung ano yung specialization or thesis na gusto nilang gawin. And nung second year ako, kaya ako napasali kasi yung nag-interview sa akin, she told me yung mga adventures niya sa Quiapo. So parang nung una niya sinabi na if gusto kong gumala, sumali daw ako. So parang doon ko na-realize na yung treasure na makukuha mo sa pagsali ng organization in general is yung makukuha mong lessons and knowledge from your upperclassmates. So yun po.
Thank you, Miss Angelica. I guess it's your turn, Asapil. Did you even have any problem recruiting? I mean,
In terms of
well, at least in
problem po,
UP. Yeah.
well, it depends actually. Kasi to give everyone a context rin, in UP, we have a thing called an app process. So before you actually join an organization, you have to go through a certain process before you actually become a member. Yeah, yun. Just to give you guys a quick background. And so with that, what we always tell our applicants before they join an org, the Architecture Student Council in UPRT, they always hold they always hold an annual event where at the, like a certain period, they would allow all organizations to have their orientation. So that's what we call our app ORGS. Kaya in the app ORGS, what we do is, what we always sell in Asafil is the idea of a family in architecture, in the College of Architecture. That's what we mostly focus on as an app. Pero as the duration of the application goes, what we show them little by little is the concept of holistic growth. Kasi being in an organization, it's much more than just a family. It's much more than the connection that you're going to build. Kasi eventually, automatic naman yan eh. When you're part of an org, may connection ka. Kasi yun, you're in a group. But ayun, so what we always sell is, and what we always instill in our apps is holistic growth nga. So the skills that you learn by being a member, it may seem not as important at first, organization skills in general, planning an event and whatnot. Di naman siya mukhang related to architecture at first, pero it's these skills that could help you in the future. Kasi additional skills that could be very helpful. And so we think that's very important. Yeah, and that's what that answers the question why you need to join Asafil, because here in Asafil you can grow.
I always like the Asapil strategy of recruiting instead of just, meron kayong process na parang quality over quantity. So
Exactly, sir.
how about Archiforum? Do you differ? Do you have a different process compared to Asapil, or is it something similar?
Actually, for most UP orgs, similar naman siya. Like, one whole semester of applying. Tapos sa end of ng semester, dun malalaman kung member ka na. So, ayan. So why join AF? So, when I was a freshie, quick story lang. Medyo hindi kasi appealing yung pangalan ng Architecture Forum. So, parang boring siya eh. Parang boring pakinggan. But then, what really pushed me to apply was the members. Here in Archi Forum, we take pride in the work we do. The organization's events are really big compared to the amount of manpower we have as an org. That's why lagi kaming believe sa sarili namin if ever napupush to namin yung mga events kahit sobrang kulang-kulang lang kami. So, in AF, you will develop skills that you will not normally learn inside the classroom setup. So, my quote nga yung AF dyan actually, it goes like, where the classroom ends, Archi Forum begins. So, so we also take pride in the relationships we have. Uh, Here in AF, you will develop a certain bond with your applicants, co-applicants, uh, that you will treasure even in your professional practice. So, if you ever decide to join our organization, mag-process kasi kami in a few months. So, yung sa mga nakikinig na freshie podcast, sa mga freshies, if you ever decide to join our organization, for sure you will have fun in college, and you will exit its gates with valuable skills that will help you in your work. Yun lang, Sir RJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Migs. You said you might have the most boring org name, but you still have the best logo for a student org. I mean, I like the story of the logo.
Thank you, sir.
Pero yeah, it's gonna be up for another day. So last but not the least, we have the Doric Ateneo. You can share your experience about struggles on recruiting new members.
So firstly, sir, it was really a struggle on, asking for students, hey, join Tag Doric. I'm going this in the context of Bisaya kay most of us Doric, so man ang Doric, say naa sa Doric, say naa sa UAPSA because as we all know, Doric is the internal guild of Ateneo de Davao, and also we have the UAPSA ADU chapter in which nakita ko last year sila Ate Max na sa assembly. So hi Ate. It was a really different task, though aligned kami sa EASEC, the Engineering and Architecture Student Executive Council, because we are an academic club. So, yung meron ng like automatic na like required ang students, but then again, you see the forms, tapos, you see a few students. So it was really a challenge na how can I entice the students to join? So looking back, when I first joined Doric, when I was at first year, I was really glad na I applied on architecture because the scare, the fear na, walang tulugan, kanana, tapos, grabe ang mga prof, math, grabe a lot of challenges, no? First year pa lang, grabe na the scare, ang fear na, what if mag-shift ako third year? So, when I joined Doric first year, I think, masabi ko lang why I joined Doric is because it constitutes my journey as an architecture student here in Ateneo de Davao University. It is part of my journey as an architecture student because not only that you get to see people who have the same interest and common goal as you also get to know them. You get to know their perspective on architecture, on social issues that surrounds political interest. So it is not limited into architecture, but it grasps a wide spectrum of issues that surrounds not only architecture. So also with socialization, you get to know a lot of students in Ateneo, and not just Ateneo. When you get to join UAPSA, you get to expand your linkages. So ayun, not just also students pala. When you get to see your prof on the hallway after the assembly, or you get to see acquaintance party, uy sir, pwede paturo ng perspective. Uy sir, paano po yung design ko, yung slope? How can I compute the proper slope? So yun, a lot of things that you get to discover when you join Doric. That is one of my strategies, no. But mainly, I think you'll get to know people. You get to know people who have the same interest, who will guide you, who will help you in the future when you graduate, or when you not make it on your journey as an architecture student. You'll remain friends forever naman, an acquaintance. So yeah, yun sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, this would good mag-recruit org, no? Thank you. We shall go on to the second question, but instead of taking turns, everyone can answer first, or so you can have a dialogue to each other. And the second question is, what is the misconception about being in a student org? Do you have any? Do you have encountered any misconceptions about joining an org? Does it change? What can you say? Anyone can go first. Para medyo mabilis tayo.
Ayun, so ako na lang muna.
Yes, yes.
Junior PIA. Ayun, actually, ang daming misconception kapag student officer ka, especially nung time na nasa TIP ako. Kasi ang nasa mindset nila is like being a student officer is you can like leave your subject kapag may mga event kayo, like for us. Kasi may times kasi na professors and our campus student body would request our current professor on time na to excuse us. Then every time na may nagtatanong sa amin, like especially membership drive, sinasabi nila na, kuya, kapag student officer ka po ba, lagi ka po bang excuse sa mga subject mo? Yun po yung nagiging misconception sa pagiging officer namin. I don't know lang kung ganun din sa iba, which is parang minsan tinitake advantage ng iba. And that's why kadalasan actually napapagalitan talaga ng mga professors. Though kami, syempre, as superiors nila sa student org, lagi naman namin silang sinasabihan. Kaso may times kasi na nakakot sila na they are using the organization as an excuse to their studies, even though we are trying to explain to everyone that study first, organization is just around, but the study is what you need to focus with. Kaya ayun yung mga naging misconception namin.
Thank you, Christian. I think another misconception is they thought you don't have feelings when they criticize you. Anyone can relate on that? Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Ayun. So, I think misconception isa sa mga misconception when joining Doric or the guild is that it is exclusive only. I mean, exclusive siya sa mga active na members. You know, not all students are active. We have introvert types. We have different types of people that are part of our program. So I think what I can observe during my term and when I was a student siguro it is the thought na exclusive lang yung Doric sa mga mga active member of the architecture, the one who can balance well their grades as well as proactive with the pagganap sa school. So yun, I think, sir.
Yeah, that's so true. But yeah, anyone may mag-share pa ba?
Me, sir. Me.
Yes. Oh, dapat lang mag-share ka, UAPSA. What's the biggest misconception about joining UAPSA?
I guess part of the pressure comes kasi affiliated ka with the professional org. So you have to carry the name, and usually parang ang tingin sa'yo or yung sinasabi sa'yo ay student leader ka lang or student leader ka pa naman. And like parang nalilimit ka as a student leader or as an officer kasi yun yung tingin sa'yo na parang ano ba yan, puro org inaatupag, ganyan. Tapos parang meron pang parang notion na nagmumukha kang event planner, gano'n. Kasi dahil parang na-stereotype ka na kasi ang dami yung events, ganyan. So, to break the stigma na event planner lang mga nag-UAPSA, this year, we've reflected on how this year is going to be a transition if ever things get better after the pandemic. So that's why transcending paradigms yung name yung tagline namin for this year, partly because we wanted na hindi mas stereotype si UAPSA for what it was in the past. So I think UAPSA is an evolving organization. That's why transcend UAPSA, and why our branding this year is iridescent kasi we wanted to apply this kind of fluidity in the organization na parang you can be many things. It's 2021 and we can be many things and we can do that. So that's why it's fluid, it's iridescent, and parang hindi you can be anything you want, and you can be a lot of things through UAPSA. So I just hate the fact na parang meron lang always na nega vibes pagdating sa mga nagli-lead ng organization. Like, they do it for a mighty purpose, I guess. Kasi, I think hindi naman sila nagsistay sa organization because gusto lang nila na they do it for the title, ganyan, but they do it for the community kasi why would you stay that long kung hindi ka nag-fall in love with the community or like with the people you serve. Ayun, so I guess more than a student leader ka lang. That's UAPSA in a nutshell.
Thank you, Ms. Max. Nabanggit mo na yung no. Kaya nabanggit ko rin na na hindi kayo robot, nakakaramdam kayo ng feeling whenever you are being scrutinized about what you're doing. I think it really is something that everyone could relate to one way or another. And that which leads me to the third question. No? Meron pa ba na-share before I proceed to third question? Wala na. Yeah, kasi ang hirap maging student org sa totoo lang, no? It is one of the most common struggles really is balancing yung studies nyo sa org works. And I can only imagine how crazy it could get. My question to all of you is, how do you balance it out? Do you do nagmo-Mobile Legends ba kayo? How do you cope up with just the grind of doing orgs and academics at the same time? I mean, being a student is hard enough. Being in an org is, it's just crazy. Maybe we can start with Archie Forum. And then everyone can answer in any order.
So being a student leader tapos RK pa yung course mo, talagang mahirap. So personally in my case, medyo hirap pa akong mag-balance, but siguro I try to hang out with my friends kapag masyado ng pagod. So usually eat out, drink out, ganun lang. So siguro my best advice for future student leaders who are thinking of running for positions is to be passionate on what you are serving. Back then di ako ganun kabilis mapagod, lalo na nung peak passionate ako dun sa Filipino architecture. So ayun lang. Thank you, Sir RJ.
Thank you, sir. Asafil, do you have anything to share?
Oh, personally, sir, what I do is I cope the balancing by, if ever hindi na ako nakabalance, I cope by sleeping. Sleeping or tawag dito, sleeping or watching TV shows, ganun, trying to relax myself and try to get my mind out of it just I just want to focus on a different thing so that at least I don't have to keep thinking about either org responsibilities or ACADS. Yeah, yun, that's one thing because of course mental health is very important rin, for everyone so that at least for us to continue being productive as much as possible yun, we have to take care of ourselves. Ganon. But like another way rin for me to cope with the balancing is to constantly share my experiences with friends, with org mates. Kasi it's I know it's not the same for everyone, but then for me personally, it helps a lot if I share a certain problem and then everyone like pitches in on like the solutions and how to solve it. So in a way, parang it doesn't make you feel alone, diba? Kasi sometimes when you struggle with balancing, it may seem like you can't really do it, and all these negative thoughts just come in. Pero if you share it with someone rin, na maybe you don't have to talk to to anyone, but maybe like write journal mag-journal na lang just to basta to let it out or like vent it out in a way, then yun, I guess that could help rin. Yeah, yun. That's something that I do too, journaling it. Yeah. That's what I do to cope with.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Feby. How about si Ma'am Angelica? What can you share about? Yeah.
Ayun po. So, tama naman po si Miss Phoebe na importante yung mental health. And in my case, I believe na yung pagiging student officer, hindi ka naman nag-iisa. You have your co-officers and friends. And what's important is you know how to delegate your responsibilities. Yung pagbabalance talaga ng schoolwork and org life, talagang hindi siya madali. And dapat, it's something that you have to really think about before you enter the position. Kasi yung commitment, doon mo ma-realize na kapag humihirap na yung commitment, doon na nagsa-start yung regrets or parang doon ka na nag-overthink and nagda-doubt. And from what I learned, since second year, third year, nag-officer na po kasi ako sa HES, what I learned is that you don't let your responsibilities control you. So from time to time, I do take breaks kung natutulog ako. And yung delegation talaga, parang I don't really want to carry the burden kasi after all, I do trust my officers na when I can't, for example, talagang hindi ko kaya, I ask help from them, and at the same time, parang kumbaga, I treat them as an equal na ito dapat yung mga responsibilities na gagawin namin. So, yun po.
I super agree.
Thank you, Miss Angelica. I can relate. Mahirap talaga if you are parang in a group with different personalities. You can only rely on yung virtue of trust to some extent. Well, we can ask you, Apga, instead of academics, actually, mas mahirap ata sa graduates because you're combining org works with work apprenticeship. Yeah, you can share your thoughts about it.
Ito po, from a different perspective naman. So, sa amin kasi sa Apga, we also have our struggles. So yun, si work kasi yun, yung working hours namin is iba-iba talaga. Tapos since ngayong fiscal year is we don't meet each other. So yung co-national namin is hindi namin sobrang nakasama or hindi kami familiarized with each other. So parang kami, since naman nung nag-UAPGA ko is, pang third year ko na kasi ngayon sa UAPGA. So tinuturing ko kasi si UAPGA as a family. So hindi siya parang, kung may problem is, hindi mo siya i-take as one of the struggles, so I have to go out from this org, ganun. So instead of ganon, ginagawa namin is kami ng mga officers ko like yung Mancom, ganyan, we play, tapos parang if aware kayo sa Telegram, naglalaro kami ng werewolves, ganon. Pagka wala kami magawa, ganon. So kapag sobrang stress naman is nag-meeting kami, like siguro sa normal kasi is nag-meeting kayo right after class, kami right after work or pagka-available lang. So hanggang madaling araw nag-usap kami. Kahit everyday mag-usap kami, hindi puro issue yung pinag-usapan namin. Like parang kamustahan, like kamusta kayo guys? Ganyan. Parang anong ginawa niyo like sa work, ganyan. So para lang po yun nga yung pagod namin sa org, ganyan. Kasi ang kadalasan kasi problem dito sa apprenticeship is magkakaiba kami ng load na like yung trabaho. So, yun. So, expect na paglabas nyo is hindi tayo lahat nagka-CAD, hindi tayo lahat nag-drawing, hindi tayo lahat nag-design, hindi lahat nagsa-site. So, yun. Magkakaiba kami. So, ako hindi na ako marunong mag-CAD. Honestly, gano'n. So, yun yung mga struggle ko is I share with them. Kahit yung personal ko is because I take my org mates and co-national as my family para hindi siya masyadong mabigat for us na like, ay, nandito na naman to, nakakapagod na naman to, stress na naman yung dadalhin nila sa akin. So, hindi ganon. So, parang nga namin is we treat each other as like family na lang, na parang kapatid mo na lang na mag-update sa'yo, ay, may problem dito, parang ganon siya. So, ganon na lang yung ginagawa namin is, kasi may edad na kami na para lang, yun. So, yun. Pero I agree naman sa lahat na yun, mental health is number one. So, yun nga, kung kailangan yung mag-take ng break is okay lang talaga yon is yun sa akin lang kung paano ko nagko-cope up sa mga problem namin sa org is yun instead na sarilihin ko siya, pinag-uusapan namin siya together, ganun siya para lang mas magaan for you kasi you can't have the load parang alone, ganyan, para mas magaan siya, spread mo siya sa lahat tapos pag-usapan mo siya. So yun lang. So that's how I balance yung struggle namin sa org hanggang sa personal life.
Yeah, you guys also had this unique dynamic na you're not in a single school. Parang you don't really see each other every day. So thank you.
Thank you,
yes,
sir.
Miss Max, you can share your thoughts about
Personally, I rediscover passions na I lost due to Arky. Pero ayun, feel ko naman lahat ng tao dito may give up nung nag-Arky sila na passion kasi because of plates, ganyan, and wala nang time to do the things we love doing. Pero ayun, I reconnect with music. Ayun. Tapos, I think it's just looking for a common denominator sa org kasi I was lucky enough na parang ma-merge yung dalawang things na I love doing, which is public service and music. But like I had the opportunity one time na mag-perform sa anthology fest. Ayun, na hindi ko naman in-expect before. But I think it's about being open to the doors you have closed in the past. And if it comes back to you, parang it's a good time to reignite what you lost, the spark you lost nung when you traded your life for Arky. So yeah, music helps for me.
Thank you, Miss Max. Well, I can only imagine how tough your position is. Like you really need that your passion for such task. No? Thank you for sharing it. Sir Ayas, it's your turn. What can you share about this?
Hello, sir. I think personally, as the current president, and with all the pressure that surrounds my personal life and with the academic life, how I adapt to these challenges is to have trust on myself and to the officers that I appointed, because a guild, obviously a guild or a club won't work without help of each other, because I see it more as not an individual work that you can appoint someone, work for the publicity materials, and then leave it na lang. You have to follow up, you have to trust them, you have to trust their skills. So what I do to overcome overcome these challenges is to have a trust on the committees, the officers, and to have a trust on myself, because sometimes we get overwhelmed with the pressure, with the problems. We get most of the time in Bisaya pa maglibog na tao sa buhaton, no? So it's important to have a trust, and you can always take a break. You can listen to your favorite music, Taylor Swift, whatever. It helps you. If it helps you, then you can take it, and then never quit and go back to work and build up the task. Ngayon, sir.
I also experienced being in an org where you started out as you're just a group of strangers, and then eventually you end up as friends. In fact, you end up like family members already. So I think that's the best feeling that you get when you're in an org. Sir Leo, what's your take on this?
I think I agree with them, sir. Nasabi na nila lahat.
Yes.
Sir, personally, what I do, especially pag pressured na, I clean the house. Weird. I clean our house, sir. Tapos rearrange the things like that. It gives me satisfaction and relaxation at the same time. Like then after that, I sleep. I deactivate from social media. I watch movies. Pag sobrang pressure na talaga and pag di na kaya, sometimes I cried. Sometimes I cried. Pag sobrang na talaga, sir. Kasi sabi nila, let it out, then go. Then after cry, then rampa again. So that's the way I support myself, sir. Yun lang po.
But I also checked PIASA. I think so far you had the most interesting event where you do Dota 2 competition.
Yes.
It's
Actually,
something
sir,
that everyone
last year,
can. Yes. Yeah. It's very interesting. I mean, yeah. It's and sometimes extracurricular activities can work. Kahit hindi pang
Actually,
RP.
sir,
Although this is
actually, sir, that's the
yes.
Actually, sir, that's the first time we collaborate with the UAPSA. Since sa UM Davao, we have also UAPSA. Then the UAPSA president told me to invite me. Now, what if we conduct a online game? Since during pandemic, since marami nang nagrereklamo sa online class na di na daw nila kaya. So yun, so together with the CSG UM Architecture, then the UAPSA and the PIASA. So thankful
Thank you.
naman kasi successful yung event, sir. Aside from Dota, sir, we have also Mobile Legends and Valorant. That's all, sir.
Yes. Thank you. And last question. Yes. What's your take on the question?
And sa akin po naman is magiging aminado naman tayo lahat as student leaders is may times talaga na nape-pressure tayo and nagiging stress, especially kapag nandun ka na sa middle part. Like for example, you have like a lot of events. In my case po kasi I have like a semester or a year na I became the president, I became the treasurer of the COMELEC, I became the archi dancer, I became the member of our cheer dance. And it's like nagpatong-patong siya. Pero syempre kailangan matibay yung mindset mo na yun din kasi yung nagpapalift sa akin na if sumuko ako, hindi worth it kasi nandito na ako sa point na to. So, pinapasok ko yung sarili ko na kapag successful to, ang sarap sa feeling na matapos ko tong mga to. Kaya, as much as possible, time management between my lessons, my subjects, and through the events. Kasi minsan nandun talaga yung magkakapatungan sila pero syempre hindi mo kailangan sumuko and kailangan push ka lang talaga forward. And ayun lang po yung cope up with everything.
Thank you, Sir Christian. For the next question siguro, Kasi the next question is, I think everyone has felt it during the onset, no? When pandemic started, all of your plans for the year 2020 has been canceled because of it. Pero sabi nga ng philosopher na si Slavoj Zizek, the world will never go back to normal after this. Kaya na-mention ko sa questionnaire na this event, this historical moment will have the same effect as World War I. Pero I think nakikita ko yung opportunity na doon sa connectivity natin using the internet. Although syempre marami pang problems to access it, pero I want to learn from you guys. How do you adapt in this pandemic situation?
I'll start na lang, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so for Asafil, again, obviously with the pandemic, no one could actually meet physically, so we shifted all of our operations online. And with that, instead of actually giving physical talks, symposiums, we shifted to webinars. And the same goes for our workshops, kasi within the chapters, or at least in the UP chapter, what we do is we also hold several internal workshops for the ball, Rep, or Rhino. So these applications, sometimes kasi it would be best if you can engage in this event physically, kasi mas engaging siya. Pero yun, things like these, we opted to shift online na lang instead. And so from there, ang nangyari is the way we adapted, we maximized all our social media, and as much as possible, we want to create as much presence for every chapter. Though in our case, in Asphil Incorporated, at the moment, medyo nahirapan rin kami sa pag-adapt kasi shifting online, it's not easy, especially if yung operations mo mostly nakasalalay siya physically. Kaya ayun, and also at the same time, we wanted to take into account all of the members and kung ano yung mga individual struggles nila, kasi it's really hard talaga for each and every one of us to adapt to the pandemic. So balancing online classes and org life is really a challenge in itself already. Kaya medyo na-delay yung mga operations. And that's inevitable. Pero yun, at least we're trying slowly, little by little, to create as much progress as we can. Kaya yun po yung sa side ng Asafil.
Thank
Hello,
you,
sir.
Asafil. Yes.
Sir, for HES UST naman, so nung nangyari po yung pandemic and yung org talaga, lahat ng org sa UST, talagang na-shock kami kasi we don't know how to operate. We don't know kung ano yung magiging announcement ng school. And yung nahirapan pa kami is that until I think June, July, wala kaming narinig na announcement from school kung mag-election na ba ng new officers and all that. So, ang daming talagang setbacks na nangyari. And yung nangyari sa amin, ang nakakalungkot lang is once kaming walang nagawa. So, as the president, parang na-disappoint ako na I had so many plans with my officers na ito yung gusto naming mangyari sa org. Pero we had to go through this organization recognition paperwork na ginagawa ng lahat ng UST orgs. And until now, wala pa rin updates kung ano lang mangyari. And we only have, I think, 5 months left before our term ends. And we're just hoping na sana may mangyari kahit at least man lang na webinars. And yun nga, kahit sobrang frustrated kami na wala kaming magawa. And parang, syempre on our part, hindi rin maiwasan na hindi namin maintindihan bakit ganun yung regulations ng school. Na-realize ko na lang after nitong mag-New Year na there's really no use to blaming the pandemic and yung school na hindi kami makagalaw. Parang all we could do is just play it by ear and hope na kung ano yung mga seminars na hinanda namin for the students, sana matuloy sila at least man lang. May matapos kami at least 2-3. So at least yun lang po.
Yeah, we can talk about the school policy more as a spectrum layer. How about anybody else would like to share before he proceeds. Yes.
Yun po. Sa Junior PIA, actually, same din with the others. We already have plans. Kasi to be honest, it's like 1 week before the lockdown started. We have the meeting. Then, nalapag na namin lahat and agreed to all of it. Then, syempre, yun nga, sabi nga rin na hindi talaga natin pwedeng sisihin yung pandemic to para hindi gumalaw as a student body organization. And yun nga, kakasabi ko lang din sa introductory ko kanina is our last event held on December talks about how architects and architecture students adjust on pandemic issue. Kasi we planned our student organization planned about of having events kung saan may explain namin yung architecture while seeing what the situation is. So, like, may upcoming event din kami which is tackles about the plans we could make. For example, on a hospital, how can we adopt the new pandemic through the new designs of the hospitals. So, doon kami nag-cope up. Kasi, yun nga, sabi nga din, mahirap din kasi talagang mag-adjust. Kasi nandun naplano na namin lahat. Tapos biglang, okay, hindi na pwede mag face-to-face and there's lockdown already. Tapos, parang medyo na babaan kami ng loob kasi nandun din sa mindset namin na paano na mangyayari sa organization kung ganito. Kasi we all know, especially sa organization namin, mahilig kami to engage face-to-face. Pero hindi nga din talaga natin masisisi yung pandemic. That's why everything na kailangan mong ma-adjust, kailangan mong gawin para lang magawa mo yung duties mo as a student officer. Ayun po.
Okay, thank you, sir. Meron pa?
Ako, sir.
Yes.
So, how we adapted to the new normal, that's what we call. So, a little bit of background. Nag-start yung term namin for April, and our academic year last year ended on March. So, as early as February, nag-announce na we need to go home. So, yun from that point, parang I thought of how can I start the guild with this new normal. So the thing that came into my mind is to have a strategic plan that we got to revise every month, actually every week per month of the month from April to May. So we did not waited for the announcements, but instead we adapted online. So what can we think of programs and activities that can possibly be happen pa rin kahit online na yung platform natin. So, several strategic plans, LRPs. So, kasi most of our major programs, it revolves around acquaintance party, Archie games, Archie bells in December, and the Archie ball. So, it is a graduation ball for the 5th year. So, I thought of how can I, shift this into an online platform? How can I make this still possible given that new circumstances arise and yun, merong changes. So yun lang, we have to adapt, we have to make stronger branding, stronger ideas that can represent the guild. I can share with you during our assembly, we got the idea of the Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse. So we incorporated it into the different situations that the students have. So Archiverse and welcome to the Archiverse, ganon. So we have just to adapt, and also we have to be stronger as leaders so that everyone will feel the same way as the org does. Yun, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sir Reyes. I guess I'll give everyone a chance to speak na lang because I guess this is something that everyone has something important to say about. Archi Forum, magkakaroon ba tayo ng online art quiz? Yun ang priority question eh. Pero yeah, what's your take on how did you adapt sa ano?
So, tackle ko na rin yung question na yun, Sir RJ. So, actually last year, prepared na yung art quiz nun. Kulang na lang is yung event mismo on the day itself. Nag-aantay na lang kami for the day itself. Pero, yun nga, pinush back namin. Tapos, ayun, hindi talaga kaya. So, we decided to cancel. Yun yung masama for our org, especially because all of our big events are actually external events na hindi kaya gawin online. So naisip na nga namin yung online art quiz pero hindi maganda yung feasibility niya as syempre yung connections, especially na nationwide yung competition, parang
Yeah.
nawawala yung essence of it being a quiz bee. Uh, so, ayun, syempre, as an organization, malungkot kami. And siguro the thing that we try to uh, like remedy, like the morale of the organization is constant communication na lang. Uh, we hold events pa rin naman, but mostly internal events na lang. So,
Yes.
ayun. Thank you, Sir RJ.
Sayang no kasi if online ang art quiz, this mean teams can join. Pero mahirap nga talaga. I understand. I guess the last ones will be PIASA, UAPGA, and UAPSA. No? Let's start first with UAPSA, and then PIASA, and then UAPGA. Ms. Max.
For you, sir, legit, nothing was planned. Kasi nung Feb, siguro iniisip natin lahat na, sure, the pandemic will end naman agad. Kasi we thought it was just a short-lived na epidemic or something. But no, it lasted a year. No one really planned na mag-take responsibility pa this fiscal year because it's so unimaginable yung continuity ng org kasi syempre online and we have membership fee kasi. So
Nakat yata si Miss Max. Sige, I'll message her. Tapos, let's proceed muna with PIASA.
Sa case naman sa PIASA, sir, delayed na kami nag-conduct ng elections kasi delayed na din yung announcement sa university. So ayun nga, wala kaming plano, hindi kami handa. And then we gathered to Google Meet para mag-meet. Para mag-meet because yun, doon na kami nagplano. So following the mandatory protocols of the new normal, so the organization took advantage of virtual meetings, using the online form, and so widening the spectrum of their knowledge despite mga circumstances. Sir. Po.
Pero I think PIASA is so far PIASA naman has been able to do something different, no. Kaya na-appreciate ko yung cyber games niyo.
Sir, that was a rough decision, sir.
Yeah. And then yes, Miss Max, do you want to do it again?
saan po naputol?
Siguro na lang, start ka na lang ulit from the start.
Sige po. For you, APSA naman po, we really had a big difficulty in everyone expected that the pandemic would be short-lived and wouldn't last this long. So we thought na we could have a physical events pa rin towards the end of the year, but like no. So what we did was we slashed the membership fees for this fiscal year just so there is continuity sa fiscal year na to kasi ayun, parang wala compared to the other orgs here, parang UAPSA lang yung parang walang plan for the next year kasi yung nangyari is, syempre, hindi naman siguro maging priority ng student leaders or ng students na mag-org pa. We are months into the pandemic, and luckily we were able to still garner membership this year. But speaking of the transitioning months, late kami nag-start ng fiscal year. So we started November. We had our elections nung July, and the worst part was walang gustong tumakbo. So no one was really planning to take part sa managing committee. So initially, hindi ako dapat yung national president because I ran for national executive vice president, but due to the vacancy, ayun, nagkaroon ng changes. So it came as a shock for UAPSA given the pandemic kasi yun nga, no one was really prepared. So we just winged it this year na para lang sa members na matuloy pa rin yung mga gusto naming plans maski we're migrating it online. So that's all for UAPSA.
And yeah, and I saw the UAPSA podcast. It's quite nice. You've been able to adapt somehow. You did a good job about it. I'd like to know UAPGA's experience naman on this.
Yan pa. Kami naman is so sobrang like them na bigla din kami with this pandemic kasi nagka-pandemic is yun yung peak ng events ni UAPGA last fiscal year before my fiscal year. So yung adjustment namin is nauna na before ako pumasok sa fiscal year. Pero sobrang nahirapan kami kasi yun nga, webinar, sobrang wala pong marunong mag-technical sa amin ng sa online. So yun. So good thing may mga technicals kami, like nag-aral po talaga sila ng OBS, ganyan, live stream, ganyan. Pero nakakatawa, nakakaawa kasi I mean, hindi kami lahat makatulong sa kanila kasi hindi rin namin alam, parang ganun. So, ayun, yung nag-start doon yung adjustment namin with laro. Nung last laro is yung, I think it's May. Ayun, so lahat webinar. Laro kasi is 5-day event. So, doon sa ginawa namin nung May is by, 5 days pa din siya, pero hinati-hati namin siya sa week. So, parang hindi siya, Monday, Tuesday, hindi siya ganun. So, parang Saturday, Sunday, ito yung review, ganyan. So, ang good thing din is, yun, na pumayag yung mga review center na professor, like yung sa mga in-invite namin na, yun nga, magturo pa rin sila ng laro kahit na may pandemic. So, lahat kami nangangapa kasi yung ibang professor hindi marunong sa online. Kapag hindi sila ma-briefing ng maayos kasi hindi rin nila makita pa paano siya dun sa screen nila, sa screen namin, ganyan. So, ito, so far ngayon naman is na full up naman yung mga events. Like, yun, may mga webinars naman kami, yung mga World Architecture Day, laro, and LFS events, yan. So, hinati-hati kasi namin yung LFS namin into districts. So para kasi, ang purpose po kasi nun is para maabot namin yung malalayong district sa buong Pilipinas. So ganun yung adjustment na ginawa namin for everyone since dito ang communication kasi kung sa internet is, malawak siya pero mahirap kasi mag-communicate ng mas maayos kung masyado kayong marami. So ganun po ang adjustment ni UAPGA is binigay namin from doon sa district namin para mahawakan yung per event ni national na dalhin doon sa district. So, ganun po yung adjustment na ginawa namin. So instead of yun yung dwelling kami sa negative effects ng COVID, ayun, in-enjoy na lang namin siya kahit webinar. Pero nakakamiss talaga yung physical events, like yung punta kami ng UAP or yun, kami ng mga events. Yan, ayun, nakakamiss. Pero wala kami magagawa kasi we have to be strong in this fiscal year kasi kami yung the chosen one. So lahat tayo the chosen one. So yun lang, kailangan lang siguro natin na yun, pakatatag, like yung mental health natin, lagi natin titingnan. So yun, yun lang naman po.
Yeah, good point, Ms. Rael, na everyone will be remembered because of this moment, no? Well, before we proceed sa stage 3, no, ng ating podcast, I have a simple answer. You just say yes or no on this. Dumali ba ang pag-organize ng event nung naging online ang lahat?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Parang yung feeling kasi parang
No.
No. Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Can you see the spectrum screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
for this portion of our podcast, you will use this as your annotation color code. So UPRP forum can use red. You can use the brush version of it. Kasi kapag pencil medyo mas manipis yung kanyang line weight. So you can check your annotation for this kasi kapag ang gamit nyo is yung shorter line, mas manipis lang yung ano nyo. So you can use the brush ones if kaya ng ano nyo.
Question.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm not sure how to use this.
Yeah. Sa Zoom nyo, merong command na more. Tapos nakalagay doon annotate. So you can press that tapos lalabas yung mga options for annotation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sige, pwede nyo pag-practicean.
Ayun.
Oo. You can try it out here. So pwede what you can do is ang ito-drawing nyo is ito to represent kung saan kayo where you stand siguro.
Yes, sir.
Oo.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Then let's I guess I guess Max is also here. Tapos spectrum kasi is a Likert scale wherein everyone will have differing opinions on a certain statement, and this leads to for us to learn our experiences, no, and at the end of the day we will learn from each other. So ayun nga po, Archiforum is red, Doric is blue, UAPGA can use black, Heritage Conservation Society yellow, PIASA orange, ASAPIL violet, and then UAPSA pink, then finally Junior PIA brown. So let me know if you're familiar na with the commands. If hindi kasi, sige, try nyo ulit mag-annotate dito just for me to see if everyone can do it. Okay. So far, almost everyone naman can use it. Yun, si Max is here. So, good.
Ayan, hello po sa Junior PIA.
Brown, you can use brown.
Ano po kasi, sa may phone app po kasi, since nagre-render po kasi yung laptop ko ngayon, naka-phone lang po ako. So, dito po kasi 5 colors lang po yung nakalagay.
You can use green kasi wala naman si Saga.
Okay po. Thank you.
Sige. Okay, everyone ready? So ano lang to, some of them can be serious questions, some of them are not. Not all of these issues or statements are exclusively for student org. Some of them are in general sense. I hope everyone can relate to these statements. So let's proceed, no? So the first statement is architecture is puro drawing lang. I think not even professionals can hear this. And I would like to, of course, to know your stand on this. So do you strongly agree, strongly disagree? So you can draw your annotation for it. Okay. I guess everyone's here, no? Blue, okay. What's your take on this? Had you heard of this before? That's the first question. What can you say about the statement?
Sir, hello po.
Yes.
Sir, naalala ko lang yung sinabi ng friend ko nang narinig niya yan. Sabi niya, gusto na lang daw niya hampasan ng T-square yung nagsabi niya. Kasi sir, actually yung puro drawing lang, madami talaga nagsasabi niyan, especially if hindi talaga sila familiar sa ginagawa sa architecture. Like, akala lang talaga nila nag-drawing ka. Pero pagpasok mo, ang dami mong ma-realize mo na may building tech, may design din. Parang hindi lang siya about sa design. So, it's like a spectrum of a lot of things. So, yun po.
Thank you very much. I guess mahirap siyang intindihin just because not everyone understands the word architecture in the first place. Like if you say engineer, immediately you'll know his part in the society. Doctor, madali. Pero architect, trivia lang, when I entered architecture school, I don't even know what architecture is. So yeah, it's kind of hard lang. Pero yeah, what can you share, guys?
So, ano naman, for me, architecture in some form is an art. So, medyo naiintindihan ko din yung sinasabi nila. Pero at the same time, syempre, for hindi sila pumasok ng architecture school. So, hindi nila alam yung the science behind the drawing. Kaya nga Bachelor of Science yung architecture for Philippine setting. That's my opinion on it.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Miguel. Tama naman, no? It's an art and science discipline, no? Meron pang gusto mag-share before we proceed?
Me, sir.
Yes.
What a lot of people see kasi architecture is more on just the skill. Kaya yun, puro drawing. I mean, it's all just the drawings that we produce. Parang kasi technically architecture is output based naman talaga. So whatever they see is whatever they get apparently. But little do they know that the process to actually get to those drawings is a lot more than just drawing it for no reason at all. Yeah, yun. That's my take naman, sir.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
For me naman, itong architecture is puro drawing lang. Sa tingin ko, hindi siya totoo. Kasi I agree with them naman. So, paglabas nyo din ng trabaho, makikita nyo yan na hindi lahat ng drawing is nandito. So, sa mga nakakarinig, alam naman nila na yung course natin is not just dun sa conceptual designing, ganyan. So, na-expose din tayo sa site. So, yung experience natin sa site is not drawing lang. So, yung drawing lang na yan is yan yung magtatayo sa'yo paglabas mo dito sa architecture school. So, yan yung kapag ka sinabi ng drawing lang, ikaw lang ang nakakaintindi niyan. Parang, dyan mo justify kasi na alam mo talaga yung ginawa mo from doon sa loob ng drawing na yun, paglabas mo. So, I think this puro drawing lang is a strong word for us. Kasi, I mean, nakikita nila nagdo-drawing tayo. So, kapag na, ayun nga, output-based siya, pag nakita na nila yan is, ayun, something na hindi nila din makukuha sa atin. Ayun siya.
Tama naman. Well, objectively speaking, talagang nagdo-drawing talaga tayo. No? Nagiging derogatory lang siya if they think na we're not doing something else, no? That we're just using our frontal lobe. Pero it's actually not true. I think
Yes.
Asapil pointed out na the design process is the thing that separates us, no, from anyone who practice architecture, no, na hindi trained sa architecture school. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts about this? So I guess we can proceed na sa second spectrum. I'll clear this up. Let's go. Okay, second question. This is kind of serious. I would like to learn from you. I think you're aware of this one way or another. But in a variety of ways. Pero because of globalization kasi, no, and because of the open source culture that has been given to us by the internet, there's this idea that architecture, or actually not architecture, but yung architect can be an endangered species, no, na profession, because everyone can technically practice architecture morally, if not legally. What's your opinion on this? Anyone can start. Sorry. Kailangan nyo pala mag-drawing muna. Just to stimulate your opinions on this siguro din. Inevitable kasi, no, yung open source culture, no, because of social medias like Pinterest, Facebook, ganyan. Everyone will have their own idea on how to design something. I guess it all boils down to the question lang that, do we have to encourage this culture, or do we have to? Kasi medyo tricky question yan actually. Ang pros and cons kasi dyan is niiwasan din naman natin maging parang yung elitism, no, na tinatawag, na parang hindi kayo architect, you're not allowed to do this, ganyan. Pero at the same time, if we do that, nagiging na-alienate natin sila, and then the public do not appreciate us anymore because so medyo tricky question lang naman siya, and I would like to learn from you about that. Hindi lang architecture ang nakaranas niyan, pati chess, no, yung mga chess community, no. To give you a context lang, nagkaroon ng chess tournament ang Twitch, kung saan yung mga Twitch streamers, mga amateur chess players, naglaro sila. Tapos maraming haters yung event na mga chess chess professionals. Pero may ibang chess professionals who also support it kasi it's their way to to bring chess to the bigger community, no. So so with this we have different answers. And let's start muna with you, Apga, because you answered neutral. What's your take on this?
Hello po. I think I answered neutral kasi I learned from my mentors sa architecture. Napapansin kasi namin din yung, ngayon kasi sa UAPGA is, maano yun, parang mainit siya na issue kasi we are from the graduates. Tapos yung iba is kahit hindi pa license is nagde-design na sila. Tumatanggap ng projects, yung ganyan. So, hindi lang pinipirmahan pero sila na yung gumagawa ng everything. Parang ganun siya. So, it's illegal practice pa din kasi we have to be diversified sa profession. So, ayun, kaya ang sagot ko dito is neutral kasi architects are here to educate, not to criticize. So, kung mapansin nyo, yun sa Pinterest is, yun nga, maraming nakakapag-design ng ganon. So, same with us, nung first year ako kasi, ganon din eh. I always look sa internet ng mga designs eh. Ganon siya, ginagawa mo siyang inspiration. So may mga clients din kasi na or mga not legally na nag-aral ng architecture na kaya mag-design. Pero as architect, kesa mamuna tayo, we have to educate them about the architecture. The right way of designing. Para kasi ang nangyayari, nami-misinterpret nila yung course natin yung profession natin. Kasi yun nga, nabanggit ni Sir RJ kanina na mas parang ano tawag dito, pagka sinabi natin kasing architect lang pwedeng mag-design. So, di ba? Parang ganun siya. Medyo, parang arrogant pakinggan. Pero, hindi kasi tama yung mag-criticize pa tayo yung mali ng iba. Di ba? Parang yung nagkamali na sila, pero kinriticize pa natin. Instead na i-educate natin sila. So, I believe lang na ang architecture is more on education, not on more on criticize. So, yun lang. Yun lang kasi yung nakuha ko din sa mga mentor ko na yan. If nakita mo may ginawa siyang mali is i-educate natin sila so that yung architecture is ma-build natin yung respect nila sa profession natin. Yan lang po.
Okay, thank you. Let's go muna with the polar opposite. No? Strongly disagree si ASAFIL, UAPSA, and Heritage Conservation Society. Sinong gusto mo una?
Me, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with this statement because yeah, I think it depends on the different levels rin kasi the different scales rin of your design. But then yun, starting from the bigger scale, I guess, if you design from a bigger scale, that would mean taking into account the community. And I'm not sure if practicing architecture, I'm not sure like with the statement, anyone can practice architecture morally. It's like you can interpret it kasi as someone practicing architecture individually na lang for self-interest or in that context. With that being said din kasi architecture, I see architecture as like the design also taking into account the community. So with that, if I'm not sure if that could stay if anyone else could just practice architecture on their own. Kasi yun, yeah, with like what I mentioned, Rin, it will depend on the scale nga. But like if it's on a smaller scale naman, for example, designing your own house, then I guess that's okay. But then again, architecture is bigger than that pa rin. Kasi it takes into account so many things and also your environment. Kaya that's why I disagree with the statement.
Okay, how about Angelica?
So, I'd like to focus pa dun sa open source culture and anyone can practice. So, lately, yung nagiging mainit yung issue na parang napapansin ko na a lot of people are undermining the professionals, especially yung architects, engineers, and basta any professional from the construction industry. Parang napapansin ko na nakikita ko lang sa mga Facebook comments pag nagbabasa ko na why would they hire a professional if yun nga nakikita naman nila sa Pinterest, they can get inspiration and they can get floor plans from the internet. And para sa akin parang nakakalungkot since let's say architecture students tayo, we study for 5 years and then 2 years we get a working experience, then we get a license for that. Parang once we get that license, we are ensuring the client that magiging maayos yung kumbaga yung bahay nila for 15 tama ba 15 years, parang ganun. Parang yun yung bigat ng signature natin na andun lahat yung pinag-aralan natin and we are ensuring the client safety. So yun yung thought ko about it na parang sana hindi undermine ng mga tao yung ethics natin as a professional na hindi rin minamalit yung pinag-aralan natin. And also alam ko naman na most of the time yung number one concern ng client is budget. Pero sana yun nga, para hindi pa rin siya i-undermine, at least i-consider man lang to get a professional whenever you have a project. So parang since yung anyone can practice, parang nagsa-start din yun sa atin na dun sa ethics natin na hindi tayo mag-accept ng projects lalo na kapag hindi pa tayo licensed professional. So hindi naman yun yung case for everyone, pero yun yung like ethics na sana may times na sana masunod yun. So yun po yung thoughts ko. That's why I strongly disagree.
Okay, thank you. Yuapsa, what's your take?
Building on HCS's opinion on it, parang I would like to stress naman on globalization kasi with ASEAN integration on the rise, yun nga, parang it invites, from what I understood, it invites other professions practicing the professions of other professionals. So parang since relative naman yung nila, yung professions nila, it means na parang it gives you permission ganyan. But not to gatekeep the profession, but yun nga, we know naman na architecture has been one of the the professions in the country na that deserves better, ganon. Parang ayun, I think while education and educating our clients are important as well as the community, parang it really has something to say about where we stand on things. Kasi parang if hindi solid yung foundation or like yung yun nga, yung stand natin on things, especially this one, parang who would stand for the profession if not for us? So I guess I object na anyone can practice architecture kung hindi legally. So ayun, I guess I'm just so particular about it kasi ayun, we want na hindi tayo maliitin, but we have to take a stand for it as well. Yeah.
That's nice. Thank you, Miss Max. The boys are in between, somewhat disagree. Do you want to share your thoughts about this? Let's start with UP Archi Forum. Yes.
Hello. So, in my opinion naman, the globalization and open source culture is inevitable kasi with the rise of technology. As in, hindi siya maiiwasan. And dun na nga, kaya pare-pareho yung mga designs lately na lumalabas siguro dahil dun. Siguro to compare sa medical professions, kapag hindi naman siya ganun ka-grave, nag-google na natin yung mga sagot. So kung ano ba iti-take, kung may simple headache lang. So siguro in my opinion naman, kung yung gravity ng project is syempre kung malaki buildings, of course you will need a professional for that. No excuse na yun. But syempre naiintindihan ko din naman yung mga hindi kaya mag-afford ng architects. Lalo na sa Philippines na talagang minamalit yung architects. Na pwede talaga skip yung architects and syempre doon tayo nawawalan ng kita. So ayun lang. So siguro somewhat disagree kasi naiintindihan ko yung both sides. And feel ko wala namang mali from both sides. But it's more on compromising na lang siguro.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Who wants to go next? Thank you, Sir Mix. Doric, Junior PIA.
Ako na lang po, Junior
Sige,
PA.
sige.
Hi.
Ayun.
Okay, Christian.
Okay. Yung sa akin kasi is all about the architecture is an obsolete profession and anyone can practice. Kasi most of the time that PIA handles an event, especially when we invite our founders of the current PIA, they always talks about how others undermine the architecture profession. As an architecture student, for me, syempre, hindi naman siya obsolete profession kasi I'm under it and nakikita ko yung activity within those premises ng architecture and malakas yung activity na napapakita nun. Though on the other hand, yung sa mga nag-undermine din talaga nung profession is nakikita nila yung profession natin as kahit wala naman na tayo, kaya na nilang gumawa ng plans and designs. So that's my spectrum between the architecture is an obsolete profession. Somewhat disagree. Ayun po.
Okay. Good point, Christian. Sir AS, it's your turn.
Sir, I have to somewhat disagree. Okay. So we have to look at scales from bigger to smaller because if we consider globalization, we also have to look at our minorities, the ethnicities. They practice vernacular architecture, the Bahay Kubo, the Torogan. We have to consider that. So without that, they don't have the aid of professional. They created it, and somehow the professionals even took inspirations from that and applied it to our modern context. So I have to somewhat disagree because I think on different scales or different levels, we don't need professionals naman siguro somehow. So that's my take, sir.
And lastly, PIASA.
I somewhat disagree, sir, because some people can just search on the internet or they see on Facebook. Sometimes they just watch in YouTube or get ideas from YouTube. And situation also is from a architecture student. That's why I disagree, sir. Yun lang po kasi of their answers, sir. I agree naman, sir.
I think everyone is in the same boat when the idea of strengthening our capability to innovate in architecture is the key to compete against those who don't practice. But it's just my idea about this. This is where theory becomes important. But yeah, thank you very much. Let's proceed to the next question. This might become personal, but you don't need to. Well, yeah, I let it be. So architecture student orgs has no impacts on the professional life of architects upon graduation. It can be answered in different ways, but yeah, you can draw your annotations first. Okay. Who likes to share first? Seems like everyone is, except for you, APSA, which is neutral. Yeah, let's start muna with you, Apsa. What's your take on this? I guess it's the most relatable question kasi yeah, but I'll let you answer the question.
Neutral because like I said earlier, it really depends on how much you engage in the organization. So it's up to you. So I can't really speak for everyone who who aren't even a part of an organization just yet kasi you'll never know. So I chose neutral kasi there's free will naman. So it's really up to you if you will use it um to a manner that will benefit you. So it really depends on what you look for in an organization. So that's why yeah, you'd say that you'd strongly disagree if you're like me, if it impacted you personally, but you could also say that you strongly agree if you didn't try at all, or like if you keep a pessimistic view on things and not getting ahead of yourself by not by generalizing, not joining architecture orgs.
Okay, thank you. I guess the key word there is the fraternity within the org. But let's ask first those who strongly disagree. Yuapga, uh, sino nga uling Orange PIASA, and Junior PIA. Sige, Yuapga muna. What's your take on this? Miss Royal? Yes?
Yes po. So sa akin kasi, kaya strongly disagree kasi yun nga, graduate org kasi kami. So medyo iba yung perspective po. So kasi most of our events is talagang for professional life and career ng isang graduate architecture. So yun po. Kaya ang sagot ko is strongly disagree. Hindi ko na siya papahabain kasi yun naman yung gist ni UAPGA. So,
yeah, it's easy to understand because you're in a very unique position, no?
Yes.
But how about the student orgs? PIASA, why do you strongly disagree on this?
I strongly disagree, sir, because after graduation, college, siyempre sa college times friends na kayo. Then after graduation, di ba? And in that case, example, sir, graduate na, tapos yung isa naghahanap ng work, like, pwede mo siya ma-recommend, like ganun, sir, because you build connections na during college time. That's why I strongly disagree, and I believe that student org has a great impact. It's a great impact, sir, especially in professional life. That's all, sir.
Thank you. And Junior PIA?
Sa akin naman is I strongly disagree regarding the architecture student orgs having no impact because I would like to specify the architecture student orgs. Hindi ko isasama yung mga like others na ayaw sumama kasi
Yes.
sabi nga subjective siya. Pero on the other note, as kami na nakaranas and nandito sa position of being part of student org, malaki yung impact niya. Kasi like example, on PIA, since sila na yung nasa profession, tinutulungan nila kami, especially kapag nakapag-graduate na kami and nakapagtapos na rin kami for the internship. So, malakas yung impact sa akin kasi kung ano yung kasi ngayon nasa college pa tayo, nasa student area pa tayo. Ang pinagkaiba kasi na nandito ako sa student org is hindi ka lang nakafocus on the study side. You are to engage with the other, especially on us. We are engaging with the architects. And that's a big impact to us kasi nakakahingi kami ng advice. And yung mga advices na yun is nakikip namin to ourselves and we can bring that once we became an architect in the future. So strongly disagree po ako sa statement.
Okay, thank you very much. Asafil, HAS, Doric, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I disagree because being in a student org, um, you will encounter higher yung mga batchmates mo, the higher up people. They will, yeah, I agree to what Mr. Christian said about advice. Yun, so you get to ask for advice regarding stuff, and at the same time opportunities are there because in Asafil's case, for example, or specifically Asafil UP, we have a certain Facebook group where all members who have been part of Asafil UP go there. So after we graduate, doon lang kami sa Facebook group, and every now and then people would post opportunities. So they would invite people, or they would ask if there are certain people available for this certain project here and there. So yun, with that being said, may impact talaga yung student orgs because of the connections na mismo, and because of the people rin presenting these opportunities to you. So it's up to you na lang if you want to grab them or not. And the reason why I disagree, and not strongly disagree, is because I also agree with what was said earlier regarding initiative, I guess. So if you're not really very active, and if you're not very engaged in the ganaps, the whatever is presented, then you won't exactly reap the benefits. But then if you go for it, then you would definitely get something out of it.
And I noticed lang sa Archi Forum and Asafil, yung alumni nyo, even from 20 years ago, can still be parang connected with, like ganun ka-solid yung mga alumni nyo, no? It's kind of unique compared sa ibang orgs. I'm not sure if you're aware of it.
Okay.
Okay, HCS, what's your take on this?
For me, sir, I disagree kasi especially if student officer ka, ang dami mong matutunan. Hindi lang yung for us hindi lang heritage yung matututunan mo. For me, as an officer, natutunan ko regarding paperwork, compliance ng deadlines, connections, and all that. And yun yung mga pinaka-basic na skill na matututunan mo sa isang architecture student org. And for sure, madadala mo siya sa professional life mo. Kasi lalo na yung compliance sa deadline, sobrang importante niyan sa firm. And also, sabi nga nila, yung connections, sobrang importante doon, especially if kailangan mo ng work, or if you, parang, alam mo yung sa industry, hindi may iwasan na marami ka talagang makakausap. So if na-build mo na, kumbaga if you have embedded in yourself na magaling ka pagdating sa connections, na hindi ka nahihiya to talk to other people, madadala mo siya sa professional life mo. And yun yung natuturo ng student orgs. Kaya lang ako nag-disagree kasi I myself have not experienced it yung sa, kumbaga hindi pa naman ako gumagraduate, kaya hindi ko pa nakikita. Pero alam ko na hindi sayang yung natutunan ko sa student org.
I guess everybody will agree na yung soft skills na de-develop sa student orgs. Archi Forum, what's your take on this?
My take naman is siguro masyadong grabe yung no impact. I might have somewhat agreed if nasabing little impact. Pero nandun yung impact sa student orgs from yung connections, the skills. Pagdating pa lang sa resume mo, if you have put student like your resume, yung mga student leader and student org membership, malaking deal na yan pag nakikita sa resume. So, I think, pero syempre, I mean, depende talaga lahat sa tao. I mean, nakadepend talaga sa attitude ng tao kung paano siya after graduation. But I think may impact kahit konti yung student.
Thank you. Then last, Doric, do you have anything to say before we move?
So I'll be quick lang siguro, sir. So I think it would be rude if mag-agree tayo, no? So okay, wait. So I disagree. Marinig ako, sir. So I disagreed because of course the experience will contribute greatly on your professional life. How you manage the org will reflect how you manage your time in the future, how you manage everything. So dun pa lang, it will have an impact bigger than you will expect. So that is my take, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, next statement, no? Well, I'm aware that everyone has specialization. ASAFIL has more emphasis on architecture education. Then obviously HES is specialized in heritage conservation. But specialization among student orgs creates some sort of healthy competition and innovation that could benefit the students. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Uh, the question can be also be perceived na parang, is it better that we have a diverse sort of manifesto, no? Para yung mga student has uh, uh, well, para siguro ma-entice ng mga student, no, to join or to be part of your organization. But okay. So we're already turning tables. Most of us are agreeing, somewhat agree. Heritage Conservation Society, what's your take on this? You answered somewhat disagree.
Sir, I answered somewhat agree po.
Somewhat agree pala, sorry.
Actually, sir, I agree naman with the healthy competition. The fact na sa USART, very diverse yung competition. Kaya lang ako nag-somewhat agree is kasi wala akong masyadong thoughts about it. Kumbaga marapit ako sa neutral and somewhat agree. Parang lahat kami may kanya-kanya kaming ginagawa and hindi naman kami, kumbaga wala namang issues na nag-rise na, kumbaga, in fact, nagko-collaborate pa rin kami and parang wala naman ako nakitang competition. So parang I don't really have any thoughts about it. Yeah, yun po.
Okay. Walang tribalism na nagaganap. Yun yung
Wala
parang,
naman po.
Archi Forum, what's your take on this? I'm not sure how's the culture sa UP about student orgs.
Siguro in UP College of Architecture, may konting competition sa recruitment, pero basically hindi naman siya nag-escalate beyond that. For me, medyo cute nga, Sir RJ. Kaya medyo agree ako dito. Nagkaka-new ways every year kung paano mag-recruit yung mga orgs. Lalo na since konti lang yung freshies na pumapasok sa Archi. And then, siguro, ayun, kahit iba-iba yung specialization of organization, parang nagpapantay-pantay pa rin naman yung mga applicants per org.
Sa bagay, no, kung 500 lang kayo sa school, talagang no. Kasi hindi naman lahat sumasali sa org. So, medyo siya. Let's try to ask Asafil about his Febby's thought about this.
I agree with Nigs, sir, kasi yan, it somewhat creates balance. And specifically in UPRT, the reason why there's like a healthy competition on them is because it's more of where you think you belong. So it's more of like personality wise na where you choose like your family na in UPRT, like that levels. Pero in terms of like the benefits of it, everyone in the college, whether you're part of an org or not, benefits from the diversity of the different specializations of the RT orgs. Kasi each org would organize a certain event. Tapos it would be different topics. So different themes, different topics that everyone could engage in. So it's just up to you na lang as the audience of these events if you want to engage in them or not. So that creates benefit na talaga for architecture students and that are part of orgs and are not alike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Feby. I would like to ask you, Apgas. I mean, technically, wala kayong competition sa graduate category, Apga. Pero, what's your take on this?
Ako naman, wala po kung masyadong comment dito.
Yes.
Kasi
Technically, wala kayong ibang org na kakompetensya. So,
wala naman po.
but
So,
that doesn't stop you from innovating, I guess.
yes po. Pero ayun po, based naman po sa mga student org like sa UAPSA, natutuwa lang din kami makita kasi na innovative sila sa mga events nila. Yan. Kami yung mga natutuwa sa kanila pagka nakikita namin yung mga events nila. So, yan. Wala lang po masyadong masabi kasi yun nga, wala akong experience dun sa competition.
Yes.
Sa org. Yun.
Then before we proceed kay PIASA and Doric, let's ask first Junior PIA.
Yun. Sa akin po, specialization for among student or creates healthy competition. Kasi sa TAP itself, we have like the UAPSA, the Junior PIA, and the MQ. Different specialization. Pero that becomes unhealthy community for us. Kasi may times na those three organizations handle a collaborative event which make an innovative kasi like si UAPSA specialize siya dito, then kami dito naman din yung MQ, then kino-combine namin yun, which is hindi lang siya nagiging healthy competition, nagpo-fall din siya under an healthy community kasi yun nga, since we have the collaborative event, nagkakaroon kami ng like meetings, and then we have the suggestions of UAPSA, suggestions of Junior PIA, and combine them. Kaya ang sarap niya tignan and ang ganda niya tignan, especially sa mga students kasi nakikita nila na this architecture organizations works together to help us learn something that we might need in times of like maybe an exam or in our future architectural progresses. So for me, I agree with this po. So ayun.
Then thank you, Christian. I think PIASA and Doric has the same experience. What's your take on this?
For me, sir, I agree naman, sir.
Yes.
Kasi so far sa school namin, UAPSA and PIASA, wala namang nagaganap problema. In fact, we collab last year. Yun nga yung tournament, yun, sir.
Yes.
That's why I agree with this one.
And
na po papahabain, sir, because I agree.
Okay. And then Doric?
Siguro, depending on how you see it and how you adapt to it, too much can be a curse. So I agreed. So if you take it as a healthy competition, then don't just make it too much of like sumasobra ka na from just being healthy to somehow I don't know. I don't want to say the word, but just don't go too much. Be moderate and take the advantage of having a competitor na who also wants to see you as someone he can grow with, he can compete with. You know, sir.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Before we move on, let's ask UAPSA, what's her take on this?
For UAPSA, we think that yes, it somehow creates healthy competition among each other, but I think that the network between these organizations should be strengthened so that they won't fight or like have rivalries, because it's at the end of the day it's always about the the promotion of the profession. So I guess when it comes to UAPSA, we don't really um, see it as a hindrance, but I think the way we're looking at it now, this fiscal year, is that we're trying to coordinate with as much as organizations as possible so that we have a greater like a greater foundation for the next generation of the construction industry, and as well as the research in industry and the academe. Ayun.
Okay, thank you, Miss Max. Great answer. Let's proceed no sa next question. Well, mabilis lang to. May benefit ba ang student org sa mga buhay nyo? Let's start first with HCSY. Maybe just a short statement on why it benefits your life as a student org.
Yung masasabi ko lang po is, I don't think I'll be who I am today kung hindi ako nag-work. So, cheesy
Very
pa kayo
good.
rin yung masasabi ko.
Cheesy man. It's a cliche, pero soft skills are developed no sa student org. Asapil, what's your take on this?
Yes, sir. Super agree because yun, basically the soft skills that you learn, naho-hone siya. So, these are the most important skills pa naman that you can actually bring to life after college. So, highly beneficial. And so, yeah, very beneficial.
Sir Migs,
Strongly agree din, especially sa mga events na academically inclined, nakakatulong talaga siya sa plates and maybe graduation.
goofy question, Sir Migs. Madali bang maka-apply sa trabaho if the boss is a former alumni ng Archiform? Di naman. Hindi siya
Siguro
parang...
it helps, Sir RJ, pero
Di naman siya
it's
parang
not a deciding factor.
Yeah.
Hindi naman, Sir RJ.
Yeah. Thank you. UAPSA. I think you mentioned this quite a while. You just need to reinforce it.
For UAPSA, for me personally, what they said earlier about being the person you are today, that's really true when you're really active in the organization, because it teaches you to become managerial and working in a team. So it also leads you to discovering the talents that are untapped in you. So for me, it has brought me to a lot of opportunities as a person who personally wants to pursue higher studies in the future. It's when you apply kasi, they look at your past experiences or the seminars that you've joined, and the reality is most likely they're going to be intrigued about you because you're not just a member, you engage kasi, and you join self-development classes or like career development classes that makes you interesting as a candidate for work, if ever you're going to sign up for a internship or something, or any other fellowship like that. So yeah, it gives you a lot of depth when it comes to experience, or when it comes to interest. So I have to strongly agree.
Okay. Doric has a neutral response. What's your take on this?
My take, sir, is that depending on depending on how you take the challenges now. So in yin yang, there's always good and bad and good. So the repercussions may come along the way. So it's polarizing. So I'm in between strongly disagree and strongly agree because we might not know what's gonna happen on the future. If what I am doing right now would be have some certain effects. So I am completely neutral with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I guess yung Apka is nasa somewhat agree siya. Yeah, you can share your thoughts about this before we move on.
Ito po is perspective ulit po ng graduate. So I think, opo, meron po siyang benefit na kukuha. Kasi yan nga po, yung event kasi namin is more on focusing talaga sa graduate. So yun, doon lang din po ako mag-focus. So wala kang masyado pong masasabi regarding this one. So yun.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Okay, let's proceed. Just a short answer lang din, no? Does school policies become a problem in making events or innovating sa student orgs? Okay, strongly disagree si Asapil. You can share your thoughts about this.
Hello. So, sir, for UP in general, I can probably say the same for AF RT Forum. The policies of UP RT is not that strict naman, sir. So we're very we have a lot of freedom on our part to organize any event that we wish, provided that we submit a few requirements now to them regarding our membership, regarding our constitution, to the admin. So yeah, basically that's it lang, sir.
Yeah, I think you have the same perspective, no, with RG Forum. So let's proceed siguro sa mga nag-neutral. PIASA, what's your take on this?
Neutral, sir, because somehow yung school namin, di sila pabor like acquaintance party. Like that, sir. So we have to ask our advisor to seek for help para ma-approve yung event namin, sir. Pero, on the other hand, sa mga tutorials, approve naman sila. Yun lang sa mga outside events, sir. Outside from the school events. Yun lang, sir.
And we talked about this earlier, Heritage Conservation Society, you?
For me, sir, kaya po ako nag-neutral kasi I want to understand bakit ganun yung regulations ng school. Kasi may times talaga na strict and may times na nahihirapan kami mag-event kasi minsan na-delay yung processing ng paperwork because of our school's office and yun nga po. And also may mga certain restrictions talaga sila na bawal. For me, even though mahirap and may times na hindi talaga magkakaintindihan, for me, rules are there in order to regulate the organizations. Ang akin lang, I do have personal thoughts about it, pero for me, sana magkaroon ng compromise and understanding between the school administration and the student orgs. Kasi after all, yung purpose ng student orgs is to help the students and sana may magkaroon ng empathy between the two parties. So, you know.
Okay, well said. Yuapsa, you somewhat agree. Yeah, what's your thought on this?
Not really going against the school administrations kasi let's face it, as an organization kasi and as a national organization, we try our best to, when it comes to the membership requirements for affiliation sa amin, we try our best na mag maximum tolerance sa mga requirements nila para lang ma-affiliate sila. And we also ran a survey on the academic well-being of the organization members. So about 10% responded about their poor well-being and poor academic standing because of online classes. And all we want is to uplift the students, but you know, as great as people with great power in terms of the the learning in the architecture program, parang I mean, parang kasi they turn a blind eye kasi on the struggles that students nowadays are facing. So parang alam mo yun, yung parang imbis na maging sila, parang mas maging considerate, parang hindi nila ina-acknowledge na may something wrong that can be further improved. So ayun, what we wanted nga sana is deans and the architecture chairpersons to be one with our with our advocacy to hindi naman kasi to free the burden of the students, but alam mo yun, yung parang it's just a stepping stone to further promote the profession in the future, kasi parang how can they work when they are suffering mentally, emotionally, and physically. So all we want is acknowledgement sana na, or like we stand with you, ganon. So it would be nice sana to yung school policies to acknowledge the efforts of the student leaders and the struggles of the students, especially in this time. Yan.
Yeah. I guess very complex yung yung experience mo on this, because you're taking care of multiple schools, no? As a national officer. Thank you. I guess you APCA. What's your I guess your instead of school, UAP, I guess, ang inyong equivalent.
Hello po. Ito po, neutral lang din. Kasi we know naman na UAP is doing the best for UAP. Ganon po palagi. So, since din naman po ang policies namin and yung POMA namin is nakasunod po talaga kay UAP. So, wala naman siyang wala naman pong problem dun sa POMA namin. Kasi guided kami ni UAP. So, neutral lang po ako. Kasi hindi ko rin alam if apektado yung ibang chapters namin. Si National kasi wala naman siyang gagawin is kundi sumunod kay National ng UAP. Yun po.
Yes. Thank you.
Naman po, wala namang kaming problem.
Wala kayong event ban 2 weeks before midterms tsaka finals. Yun yung mga common struggles sa Surprise statement. Ano lang to? Icebreaker lang, no? Which has the best tech pen? So, ito yung mga choice nyo, no? We have the Rotring on the one end, Staedtler on the other. Sa gitna si Faber-Castell. Kung wala kayong gusto sa mga yan, you can write your brand. So, okay, go ahead, guys. If you ask me, Staedtler ako. Pero mabilis lang na. Okay, Unipin. Oo, tama. Migs, bakit Staedtler ang the best na tech pen?
Siguro sir, yun lang kasi yung gamit ko. So, it's for me.
Well, in my opinion, matibay kasi ang 0.1 ng Staedtler.
Really, yes sir. Hindi ko pa napapalitan yung Staedtler ko.
Ang cons lang kay Staedtler, medyo mahirap buksan kasi malalim yung kanyang internal parts. Doon tayo sa mga Rotring fans. We have UAPGA, Junior PIA, and UAPSA. Christian, bakit Rotring?
Ayun po kasi Rotring kasi po yung ginagamit ng family namin. Like yung sa dad ko po kasi sa marine engineering pa lang po Rotring na po gamit niya. So parang tuloy-tuloy na po siya na yun na din po ginagamit ko kasi most of the time sila na rin po bumibili ng gamit ko and Rotring po yung
we have an interesting Unipin as a field. Why Unipin?
Oh, because it's cheap, sir. And okay naman siya, even if it's easily replaceable. I mean, it's easily replaceable in there.
Yes.
Yeah. mostly that.
Okay. Anybody else want to share their thoughts about this? Talagang ano lang siya, surprise talaga na ano yan, statement. Okay. I guess na-cover naman yung lahat ang reasoning nila sa Rotary tsaka Stabler. Okay, thank you very much. Stabler lang. Saka lang. Okay. Well, the next statement is your respective student org has done more than enough to promote the discipline of architecture to the public. I just want to give you a context now before you answer this. I differentiate discipline of architecture sa profession of architecture. The reason why is because I think discipline is something that is not easy to replicate, if that's the right word for it. It's it's the one thing that we could say that you need to be trained to understand. But I'm not sure if you will agree with me, so you can share your thoughts about this. And then maybe we can focus more on how do you do it instead of what's your idea on this, para siguro it's a better way for the public to know what the org is doing about this. Or you can still answer this as a profession, so no problem naman. Yeah, okay lang. Okay lang, Royal. Who wants to answer? I don't mind if not everyone would answer this. It's actually a difficult question. From an icebreaker question, medyo mahirap yung next. Okay, let's listen to Miss Feby.
Hello. So I somewhat disagree because I of course I won't discredit all of the past events that have been organized to uplift architectural education. So those were done and they did their job naman. But I feel like there's more that we could do to further uplift like our main three thrusts. And so we want to promote architectural education, social relevance, and we want to be more socially relevant, and we also want to promote environmental awareness. And I guess from our events right now, it's really just focused on uplifting architectural education, whereas the other two medyo left behind sila, in a sense that there's no specific event that is really focused on the other two. So that's what I think that we can improve on as an organ, because a combination of all three of our main thrusts would do us good in doing our job. But then in the sense like promoting the discipline of architecture, ASAFIL has done several events, like for one, our marquee event, Art 360. And so it's a design symposium, diba, focused on like providing certain talks about a certain topic. So the topics that we hold for Art 360 are quite relevant naman for their time. So whenever they're held. So that's awesome. The last time that we had Art 360, which I think was November, we had Art 360 focused on on local materials, on traditional architecture here in the Philippines also. So we invited several speakers who could contribute their knowledge on that. And I guess it is relevant because we geared it towards the direction of how we can still use our traditional materials given the current times, given the pandemic and all. So I guess that's quite relevant, and at least that also promotes the discipline of architecture in that perspective. And to share also another one of our events in ASAFIL, specifically in the UP chapter, we have this event called Tanglao. So Tanglao is also just like Art 360, but focused more on the senior high school community. So this event, it introduces the community of design to them. So different varying disciplines of design we introduce to them through Tanglao. And so I guess this is helpful in promoting the discipline of architecture to senior high school students, because this is the period when they actually decide what they actually want for themselves. If they want to pursue design, then Tanglao is there to help them decide if they want it or not. So yeah, that's
Okay.
for Acetil po.
Thank you very much. But ARC 360 is actually easily the one of the event that could really grassroots to the community other than architecture. No? And I guess this is for you guys. Masaya bang nasa student org? Is it rewarding? Is it fun? Despite the challenges? Can you share your thoughts about this Heritage Conservation Society youth?
Sir, for me kasi, I acknowledge that I'm not a perfect student leader. May times talaga na I feel frustrated, na parang napafrustrate ako na hindi ko nagagawa yung responsibilities ko perfectly. Kaya may times talaga na dinadoubt ko yung pagiging student leader ko, kasi parang may times na for me hindi siya rewarding. Pero for me, it's a process kasi, it's a development. May times na biniview ko din siya as rewarding kasi natutulungan ako nito, and at the same time, may ibang tao na nagre-rely sa akin. So I do see it as a 50-50, kaya somewhat agree. And yun nga, parang for me, it's a process.
Thank you, Ms. Angelica. I also like to know Max's thoughts on this. I can only imagine how tough it is to be in your position.
Ako mag-strongly agree kasi legit nga na meron challenges. So you can't really erase that from being a student leader who, lalo na pag national level kasi, ayun, syempre, ang dami mong kailangang isipin. Pero I think one of the most important things to highlight about the fun of being in an org is the friends you make. Kasi over the pandemic, I made great relationships with and friendships with the people who I worked unexpectedly with. So ngayon parang we bond over work, but at the same time, meron ding times na it gets kind of draining. So we can't always talk about student orgs related na topics. So fun siya, but you can't really deny that you get tired at times. But ayun, siguro in moderation lang din yung pag delegate mo ng energy when it comes to things.
Thank you very much. Sir AS from Doric, you strongly agree that it's a fun position despite the challenges. Why?
Personally, sir, because it molds you into what you will become in the future. It helps you develop yourself, your skills, your innate gift. So despite the challenges, although you have the plates that you have to submit, the building text, the ESM, integral calculus, all of this stuff, they get too confusing sometimes. But when you are led properly and you'll get to know your core, it will develop. It will mold you into the best version that you will be in the future.
Okay, thank you, Fitzgerald. I let everyone answer this question. So let's go with Archi Forum.
For sure, it's really hard to be a student leader. Pero there are things that yun nga, you can only learn being a student. And sometimes siguro fun yun. And yes, iba yung relationship na nabibuild mo when you are really working hands-on on something.
Thank you very much. Yapga, you can share your thoughts about this.
Ayan po. So in my case kasi, I only have work and I only have UAPGA. So ang UAPGA kasi is siya yung fun side ko. May stress. Hindi naman sa sugarcoat yung UAPGA. Sobrang perfect. Pero may magulo. Oo, magulo yung org. Pero kasi tulad ni Max or tulad ng iba sa inyo is nag-make friends kasi ako dito sa UAPGA. Kahit hindi ko sila na-meet personally yung iba. So parang we enjoyed the thought of the org. So parang si UAPGA is meron kaming challenges along the way talaga. So hindi perfecto pero ginagawa lang namin sa akin personally. Ginagawa kong fun side ang UAPGA kasi sobrang stress na namin lahat sa work eh. Kung magiging stress pa kami sa UAPGA, parang hindi na kami nakatulong sa isa't isa. So ganun. So dito sa akin, so rewarding and fun talaga sa akin ang org na UAPGA. Kahit ayan, hirap kami ngayon. Yan lang kasi yung yung way namin para may makausap kaming iba na hindi naman about sa work or hindi naman about anything ganyan. So yan po yung take ko dito.
Thank you, Miss Royal. Seems like everyone is in this position where everyone feels like they're in a showbiz industry wherein everyone, your colleagues are already become your family. Si araw-araw mo silang kasama. Christian, what's your take on this?
For me po, it is rewarding and fun since way back then, I was that type of a kid like a shy, and becoming a student or leader requires you to communicate with the other people, and that builds my skills as a leader since especially as an architecture student, we are required to practice to communicate with the other people, which in architecture profession, like we need to cooperate with the client, we need to cooperate with the workers, with our engineers. So for me, it is rewarding. On the fun side is you have those kind of events na hindi lang nagbibigay ng lessons sa iyo, pero nagbibigay din siya ng fun in a way na may natutunan kang bago na hindi pala naturo sa'yo current or past. Kaya mas nagiging masaya na like pagiging student or leader. And mas fun siya in a way na nakikita mo na yung pinaghirapan mo is nakikita mo na worth it siya. Especially looking the students attending your event, smiling, learning something. It makes rewarding and fun for myself. So ayun po.
Yeah, I can relate to that feeling. Thank you very much. Sir Leo, it's your turn.
I strongly agree, sir, kasi literally rewarding. Reward siya kasi once na student or leader ka sa PIASA, the PIA will support you with your tuition. So that's why it's really rewarding talaga siya and also honored kasi the people believe in you. So that's why binoto ka nila as the student leader of the organization, and fun kasi nga I agree with them. Masaya naman talaga sa org even though maraming struggles and mga yung stress. That's why I strongly agree, sir.
Thank you very much. And last but not the least, Asafil.
Hello. So I think, yeah, I strongly agree because despite the challenges, what matters kasi is what you get from your experiences being a student or leader. So overall talaga, not that I am disregarding all of the struggles to get to where we are now, but it is very rewarding. And at the same time, it helps also with how you see yourself because being able to finish an entire term with our current position right now is a huge feat. So it, regardless of whether we think that we didn't do well or not, the fact that we actually pushed through with it and the fact we actually finished with it, that in itself is already very rewarding, and we should be very, very proud of ourselves for stepping up and doing this. Because,
very well said.
Yeah, not everyone could really, not everyone would want to go for this rin naman. So for in our position, actually wanting to do this is something else pa.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Pebby. Seems like everyone is, I don't know, has similarities, no? And it's good to know that na-realize natin itong lahat sa podcast. Ito yung pinaka-showbiz na question ko, no? Is it possible for all student orgs to collaborate? Actually, showbiz question niya kasi napakahirap nung tanong na yan. Siguro sa event, you make a single calendar for everyone to see. I'm not sure. The question is, do you have to collaborate in the first place? Pero I'll let you know. I want to learn from you actually. Uh, okay, let's start with you, Apsa. You strongly agree that you can collaborate with everyone along with junior PIA. So you can share your thoughts about this, Max.
Hi. For this year, we've really been trying and we have yet to reach out to our counterparts. And, learning from the past and sticking with the organization for 5 years. And it occurred to me na parang we've been wasting so much potential in the past not working together. And that's what we're trying to do with you Salitaan, because we're trying to reach as much as possible all the organizations that are not limited to architecture students, but also those from the other from the from the allied professions like engineering. And it's possible to collaborate with them because as I know there's an upcoming event, the Civil Engineering Architecture Student Conference 2021. Plug ko lang. But before that, I think before you stratify your ties with the allied professions, it has to start, or like it has to eventually um, uh, draw us together, I guess. So from what I learned from other orgs, they are really, even if they're not in the same schools, like let's say for some events they have like partner organizations presenting the event even though it's not their event, for the future of the profession and the promotion of the profession. So I think it's a work in progress, and I won't say that it's impossible to happen. So I look forward to working with you guys if ever. So yeah.
I just want to share then, no, it can be possible if somebody will organize it, no. Like for example, the lab organize an event tapos he collaborates with all student orgs. So kung sila yung mag-organize, it would be better. Pero yeah, it's a different kind of collaboration, I guess. Pero I want to know what Asafil is. What are your thoughts about it?
Oh, I guess it's the reason why I said that I somewhat agree is because for me, sir, it depends on the schedule. It's always the schedule. Kasi sensing is very, very hard to do, especially if you're going to be collaborating with student orgs from other universities that clearly have different schedules also. So with that being said, it all boils down to the schedule for me. But in terms of in terms of organizing an event, a certain event, with other orgs, it's no problem. And whatever event that is, or whatever the theme of the event is relating to architecture, I would seriously go for that. But yes, moving on to schedule, yeah, schedule's always a problem.
Also depends on what are you collaborating with. Parang ano yung gagawin, ano yung mangyayari. So good point.
Yes, sir, exactly.
How about PIASA? Thoughts on this?
I somewhat agree, sir. I agree with the ASAF because of the schedule, sir. Then also baka may yung orgs may plano na sila, then baka ma-conflict sa time, then yun, sir. wala akong thoughts dito sa
Okay. You Apga?
Somewhat agree. So for us naman sa UAPCA, we are open and gusto rin namin actually yung mga student org is marinig naman sila from their perspective to graduates naman. Last December ba yun? I think yung in-invite namin sila UAPSA and this is an event from UAP. Nag-collaborate sila with UAPGA to fill the gap between the student, the graduates, and the UAP. So, ayun siya. Medyo masaya kami dun sa nangyari kasi narinig namin yung perspective ng students from UAPSA kung ano ba yung nangyayari from students, ano yung na-expect nila or ano yung mga nawawala na hindi na ituturo sa kanila. So, ganun yung topic ng event. So, more on open forum siya. So, meron din kaming plan this 2021 na magkaroon pa ng part 2 nun. So, mas maganda siguro kung yun nga, kung mas maraming architecture student or architecture orgs ang magpa-participate. So, parang mas broad yung marinig naming, yung ideas or yun nga, the gaps na nawawala between the academe. Ganun siya. Papunta dito sa UAPGA and to the profession ng UAP. So, mas maganda siguro ganun. So, I somewhat agree. Kasi yun nga din, based din sa schedule nyo, schedule namin kung meron kaming event that time. Kung yun. Pero kung mapagbibigyan ng chance, I agree. Yun po.
Okay, thank you very much. Angelica, you can share your thoughts about this.
For the collaboration, I don't see anything wrong with it. Kaya ako nag-somewhat agree. Kasi, I mean, lahat tayo, meron tayong parang dalawang common denominator, which is architecture orgs tayo, and we serve the student body. And since meron tayong common denominators, having a super project is not really parang a far-fetched idea. Kumaga possible naman siya. Although kaya ko lang siya nilagay sa somewhat agree is like sinabi nung iba na magkakaiba yung schedules natin, galing tayo sa different schools, and the fact na all of us are very diverse. Yung isa sa magiging challenge ng collaboration nito is to actually find a way kung paano makakapag-pitch in ng activities yung bawat org na inline pa rin sa vision and mission nila. Pero for me, I see it as a grand idea and I don't see anything wrong with it.
Thank you very much. Doric, what's your thought about this?
I strongly agree with this, sir, because as previously na-mentioned kanina na it is a grand idea, but you know, the reward there, the experience that every org will have will contribute naman siguro sa at the end of the event. So I think personally, if one org or if every org will spearhead on committing this into into reality, I think this will be a good experience, not just sa part ng Ateneo, but also to the UP, the UST, and all of the architecture schools that will join on the said event or the grand event, as we stated.
Okay. Junior PIA, Christian, you want to share your thoughts about this?
For me po, I strongly agree with this kasi ako, nung nag-start po ako as a student org leader, lumaki ako sa collaborative event. So it is possible and feasible. So for me, I strongly agree kasi we have different ideas, we have different types of suggestions. And kung yung mga students natutuwa na sila sa event ng isang organization, what more kapag nagsama-sama and nag-combine yung mga organization to give them new learnings and new topics na dito lang nila makukuha.
Thank you, Sir Christian. And last but not the least, Miguel.
Okay, so I somewhat agree because I believe na pwede siya gawin. Like architecture orgs could actually come up with one good idea, but hindi ako strongly agree kasi mahirap siya gawin, especially if there is more heads, mas mahirap siyang i-execute, and I don't think na nandun na tayo sa point na kaya gawin yon. Siguro friendships muna between the organizations before the said event. Ayun.
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to say na ano, no, tama yung hinala niyo, mahirap siyang gawin in a practical sense. I have this thought which I want to share with you. You don't need to collaborate yet, pero maybe if you can parang share a single calendar of event. What do you think? So you don't actually need to collaborate an event. You just need to come up with a single calendar of event for 2021, for example. What do yung mga event nyo lang na para sa hindi nyo members. Like for example, our quiz will happen on March. Laro will happen on this month. It's a good start, pero I'll let you guys think about it. It's actually a difficult question. Pero yun nga, siguro ang kaya ko lang natanong to is because our UAP National President is calling for unity. Siguro this is just a way for us no to show that part of his message. So yeah, that ends our podcast. Pero I hope you guys had fun doing this. What do you want to say, guys, before we end?
I would like to say thank you, sir, for this opportunity.
Yes.
At least we were able to talk about our orgs, and we were able to share to everyone here what our specializations are in, para at least in case of future collaborations, always hit me up lang. It's all right. You can message me anytime.
Yes.
Asafil will be open naman for any collaborations.
I just want to say no, itong project na to, ito yung Rosetta Stone natin for future officers ng mga members nyo. Kasi pag pinost sa YouTube to, it will be watched 5-10 years down the line. So it will be a great reference no for your future members. Miguel, you want to say anything else before we end?
And then thank you for having us, Sir RJ, and sa mga architecture orgs. PM lang or email lang.
Oh.
Tapos,
Don't worry, I'll share everyone's
event.
email. I'll share everyone's email, so don't worry about that part. Miss Angelica, thank you for having us. What do you want to say? Anything?
Thank you then, sir, for the invitation and for everyone. I learned a lot in this podcast and happy din ako na nakapag-share ako ng experiences ko. So I think it was a two-way learning experience for everyone. So thank you so much. Info.
Okay, thank you. Sir Leo, thank you very much. Yes.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Do you want to say anything? Wala naman.
Thank you, sir, for inviting us. I had so much fun, sir.
Okay. Miss Max, thank you very much. Do you want to say anything?
Thank you, sir, so much for randomly nagulat talaga ako nung nag-invite kayo, pero it's an honor to speak for UAPSA and to be here with the other presidents of the organizations, and I look forward to a brighter paano ba, a more exciting collaboration in the future. Ayun, I learned a lot as well.
Okay, thank you. Sir Ayas, it's your turn.
Sir, first and foremost, I would like to credit you for inviting Doric to have a chance to see our guild, our locality in Ateneo de Davao University, and also I am truly grateful seeing this brilliant people from different spots in our country, coming from the graduates to the undergraduates and to the professional ones. So it's a great opportunity na I think yun na we'll get the collab. And I am thinking also because we got nag-chat na kami ng aking vice president, and we have some sparks of I will just message lang siguro everyone if in case we will have a collab in the future. So thank you so much, sir, and nice meeting you all.
Miss Riel.
Hello po. Good evening ulit. So, ayun sir, RJ. Thank you for the invitation. Since nagulat lang din ako kasi nga from graduate ako tapos ang topic is student org. So, ayun, na-excite din ako kasi I get the chance to share the knowledge and yung perspective ng graduate sa inyong lahat. So, I hope na yan, sana maging successful pa din. Tuloy lang ang laban kahit mahirap na yung pandemic. I wish and I pray na na pagdating ng araw, ma-witness nyo din yung mga pinaghirapan nyo paglabas nyo ng org na yan. So, ayan. See you sa UAP. See you sa RP. Pag-graduate nyo. So, ayan lang. Enjoy nyo lang yung work life nyo sa student. Kasi ako, hindi ko na-enjoy yan eh. So, sobrang naano ako dati na, hindi ako nakapag-UAPS, hindi ako nakapag-ganito, ganyan. So, ang tangi ko lang nagawa dun is PIASA. So, hindi pa siya valuable lang siya. So, ayun. So, I'm happy to see everyone kasi, ayan. Sana magkaroon kayo ng event na pwede kaming mag-join. Kahit mag-join na lang kami. Ayan lang. Thank you po. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, last but not the least, Junior PIA.
Ayun. First, I would like to thank Sir RJ for inviting us. Kasi this is a stepping stone for all the organization, especially if we are looking for unification. And ayun, looking forward din sa other organizations to have an event. Kasi to be honest with you, every time na may meeting kami, lagi namin pinag-uusapan na paano kapag may collaborative event tayo sa UAPSA, sa UAPGA, and other PIASA or in other architectural. So ayun, see you around and event tayo.
What do you feel? Mukhang na-enjoy nyo naman. Naka-smile naman kayo lahat. Thank you very much. I'll end the meeting now. Thank you so much.
Sir, sir?
Sorry, picture nga pala. No? Sorry. Yeah, good idea. Okay, I'll take a sprint screen. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Isa pa, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you guys. I'll see you soon.